Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's still kind of hard to hear you though.
All right, well, I'm gonna move closer to the mic. And I'm gonna speak up.
All right, go ahead now. Say it.
Yeah, so I said, that basically I left breadcrumbs so I can find my way back home.
Oh, you left breadcrumbs. Okay. I understand that now. I understand that now.
Yeah, so
So,
I can find my way back home. So I'm never really
so,
totally lost.
so, okay, okay.
But I don't know if that's gonna work or not, but
I mean,
that's
it's
the problem.
possible, right? I mean, you won't know until you won't know until you drop the breadcrumbs and then try to follow them back, right?
And maybe but they say you can never go back home again, man. So home is never, it becomes different things over time.
I mean that's possible. That is possible. That surely is possible. I mean, would you like to go back home?
Well, my man Gil Scott takes it to another level altogether, man, where he talks about home is where the hatred is, man. And I think that's pretty deep, man.
Home is where the hatred is. Is that what you
You
said,
know,
sir?
that ain't what I said. That's what Gil Scott said.
Ah, home is where the hatred is. That's pretty deep.
It is. But I think the Turtles got it all figured out, though, man. They bring it home wherever they want.
That's pretty deep, man.
But anyway, what's going on?
Well, I think I kind of found out why people can't find Poetic Recovery on the website, and so I'm about to fix that right now.
So that had been a problem for people?
I mean, it's possible. I put it under something that people probably wouldn't understand. So it's under events now. I put it under media when I should have put it under events.
Well, see, you're a techie, man, so you got to know, man, that people ain't really savvy when it comes down to navigating systems.
Bro, the website has 33,000 hits so far.
So what do you mean people can't find it?
I don't know, but it's about to start getting promoted very heavy.
What's the promotion going to be about?
What's the promotion going to be about? Encouraging people to come to the culture exchange.
No, but when you say it's going to be promoted really heavily, what do you mean? How is it?
Oh,
You talking about you got a marketing campaign coming up?
yeah, through two national organizations. But so before we get carried away with that, brother, I wanna go over the weather.
Okay, cool, man. And I hope that yeah, I was thinking maybe you might have be checking in with people to see how they're feeling about what's happened down in Haiti.
Well, can I um you missed last week's open mic, so but let me get to this weather, bro. Today there was a flood watch, still a flood watch. Occasional showers with thunderstorm possible. I don't know about you, if y'all like me, I was caught in a thunderstorm, low 68 Fahrenheit. Winds light and variable, chance of rain 30%. Oh, there was rain. Humidity 92, UV index 010. Moon rise 12:19 p.m. Moon set, that's to be determined. We're in a waxing crescent. Saturday. And then for the morning, cloudy skies during the morning hours, followed by thunderstorms in the afternoon. High 79 Fahrenheit, winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour, chance of rain 80%. Tomorrow evening, 60% chance of rain. Well, 67 degrees, I apologize, 96% chance of rain. East winds 6 miles per hour. Thunderstorms low, 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds light and variable, chance of rain 100%. Rainfall near an inch. Tomorrow morning, humidity 81%, UV index 7 to 10. Sunrise 5:30 a.m. Sunset 8:23 p.m. Moonrise 1:32 p.m. Moon set 12:16 a.m. First quarter moon. Coming up on Sunday, during the day, 75 degrees. Variable clouds with showers and scattered thunderstorms. Storms more numerous in the morning. High 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds northeast at 5 to 10 degrees. Chance of rain. Chance of rain 5 to 10 miles per hour winds. Chance of rain 60%. Tomorrow, Sunday night, 60 degrees. Rain showers early with overcast skies late. Low 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 40%. Humidity 98. UV index 0 of 10. Moonrise 2:45 p.m. Waxing gibbous. Moon set 12:43 a.m. There's your weather, whether you like it or not. So what are you saying, Jerry?
I have a question about the weather.
About the what?
I'm not sure if I heard you correctly, but it sounded like the moonrise. I think the first day you said it was like 12 something, the next day it was like 1 something, the next day it was like 2 something. So
What
the
about?
moonrise changes that much on a day-to-day basis?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the moon rises that early in the day, and it's up all night.
Yeah.
Correct or no?
I mean, that's the way it seems to have been happening. I mean, I don't study the moon, so I'm just reading off of weather.com.
So the moon is kind of like the sun; it's always out there.
I mean, the moon's been out there ever since I was born. I mean, it's not always out there. It's out there in the evenings. The sun tends to be out there during the day.
All right. Okay, I can accept that.
I hope so, because that's the way it seems to be. I don't know if it's going to be like that after I'm dead and gone, but there's a good chance that it will be. Hello?
Yeah. I just made this awesome dish, man. It's like,
We ain't talking about your food, bro. That's one thing we're not doing. We ain't talking about your food. That's not what this is for. Cause I don't even know if you wash your hands.
I think it should be.
I don't know if you wash your hands.
Oh man, no, absolutely, man. When I cook, when I prepare food, hygiene is front and center.
Bro, let me ask you this. When you cooking for yourself, do you wash your hands after you go to the bathroom?
Absolutely.
Why do I doubt that? Why is that?
But washing your hands after you go to the bathroom has nothing to do with whether I'm going to eat or not. Man. I always wash my hands after I go to the bathroom, period.
I hope so, bro. No, I mean you seem to be the. Now I know you. You seem to be the type of dude that really cares about yourself. You know what I mean? And so I'm gonna give you a pass on that one.
Yeah, man. But I think that the pandemic has made people more aware of, like, washing their hands and stuff.
What if that was the whole? What if that was the whole point of the pandemic? Is to get people to wash their hands more often.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
What if that was the whole point of the pandemic?
It could be.
To get people to wash their hands more. Would you be upset?
The creator has a master plan, man. That could be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, but check this out. Can we just on a very, very brief tangent, right? I heard yesterday that the tradition that back in the 1500s, people didn't take a bath on a regular basis.
Wait, what?
That back in the 1500s, which would be like the Dark Ages, people didn't bathe on a regular basis, man. At least in Europe. People didn't, their hygiene was like crazy. People bathe like maybe a couple times a year,
Listen to this.
It wasn't until the Civil War, right, that surgeons understood that washing their hands before they did surgery was a good idea. So can you imagine that, man? But anyway, this isn't about that. It should be about food, though,
Yo, listen.
Food is the ultimate medicine, I believe.
Listen. Let's come back to that.
All right.
Can we come back to that?
We can always. I believe everything comes full circle.
Because I have an agenda.
You always do.
And I feel like you're trying to take over my agenda with food tonight. So I'm going to give you a chance to talk about food in the beginning. Because I normally my
agenda is to derail your agenda.
What'd you say?
I said my agenda is to derail your agenda.
Okay, that's all right. Because you always do anyway.
You would believe that. You readily believe that, right?
No, I don't, because you're not very good at it. So.
or maybe you were just focused.
Brother, you're part. Bro, you're part of the show, man.
Yeah, I want to be compensated.
So, but listen, man, listen. So tonight, we're gonna have you discussing food to start it off, right? We're gonna talk about police brutality. We're gonna talk about Bill Cosby. So, and we're gonna talk about the NFL, right? And
that's a lot of topics.
What?
That's a lot of ground to cover.
Why, you don't think you can handle it?
No, I mean, just Bill Cosby alone is enough to cover a whole show.
Yeah, but we ain't giving them that much time. What I say? Food, NFL, Cosby. What else did I say?
Police brutality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a few questions about that.
All right. Well, let's start. Let's start with the food, man. You got 3 minutes. Let's go.
You know, I'll put that on the back burner.
Nah, bro. If you're gonna do it now, it ain't gonna get done. Let's go. What's up? What's your take on food?
Well, I think that food is basically the ultimate medicine. I think that people's health in general, at any given point, and over the course of their life, I think a person's health has more to do with what they take into their body than any other factor. You know, the food that we eat basically drives our, our health. So yeah, I think it's probably it's the most important thing that we do. You know, it's a universal activity.
Okay. All right.
And it's a spiritual thing also. Well, it can be.
If you can give me a second, I want to cut to a commercial. I want to welcome everybody to Poetic Recovery, Cultural Expression, where we have some really deep discussions. Tonight we're going to discuss food with Mr. Anonymous. Doesn't like people to know his name, but I call him Jerry. We're going to be discussing NFLs. Silly attempt to warn black people. And only playing the national anthem before the Star Spangled Banner during every week one game. That means every season, the first game, the national black anthem is played. Wow. Wow, NFL, wow. We're going to be discussing Cosby. And of course, we're going to visit police brutality. Jerry, back to you, sir. Jerry, there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Just said back to you, man.
I was chewing, man. I had a mouthful of food. I couldn't.
Bro, you know you're supposed to be on the show. What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm trying to nourish myself here.
Yo.
But anyway, that's all I want to say about food is that I think people have to look at it as something that's it's more than just something to fill your stomach up. Yeah, it has a broader purpose, and yeah, I think people should be more mindful of what they consume. I'm not talking about being a vegetarian or any kind of specific diet. I'm just saying that people should just be aware that what you take into your body basically has an effect on your life. And that's it. That's all. That's my perspective on food. Plus, it should taste good too. You know what I mean? It should be about flavor as well.
I mean, I know some food tastes good. I don't know if yours tastes. I don't know if yours tastes. I don't know if yours tastes good or not.
If what?
I don't know if your food tastes good.
Oh yeah, well it's flavor. It's flavorful. But
Bro,
now you know how it is, man.
Bro, I don't know about your food, bro.
Well,
I really don't.
Some some things you have to acquire a taste for, you know?
I just don't know about your food, bro.
Have you had that experience
What experience,
where
bro?
where you acquire the taste for something, where there's something at one point you didn't like, and then over time you came to like it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That happened with asparagus.
Really? Now,
Yeah,
was that by choice,
asparagus.
or was that because that's all that there was to eat?
No, man. I need to start eating healthy.
So you like asparagus now?
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very convincing, man.
Well, I'm not trying to convince you, bro.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound like a positive yes.
If I was
Sounds
trying
like
to convince you, then you know what? You would be convinced.
okay, so at one point you didn't like asparagus, now it's part of your diet. Is that the bottom line?
Excuse me?
At one point you did not like asparagus, and now it's part of your diet. Is that
Yes,
fair
sir.
to say?
That remains to be correct, sir.
Kind of like the green eggs and ham thing, man.
Excuse me?
Are you familiar with Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham?
Yes.
Although he's not politically correct at this moment, though.
Who's not? Who's
So
not?
who else is out there?
Are
I
you? Are
said,
you?
very few
What?
people are. I said, very few people are politically correct at this moment.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro.
That's because as our consciousness, as our awareness rises, we come to understand how that there's people out there that are not, they have not been doing the good things.
I don't know what to tell you. I
That's
mean,
what happens to our heroes. Sometimes our heroes turn out to be, villains.
I mean,
Like
he
Cosby,
was. I mean, he wasn't my hero.
he was mine. He was the icon, man. He was a hero. He was a black icon.
Who?
Bill Cosby.
He wasn't my hero.
He was a black icon.
He wasn't my hero. I mean, when I was
Maybe
younger, Bill Cosby said some disparaging remarks about black kids on the street. So I'm good.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So he was not your hero
Absolutely
because
not.
you became aware of things that he did and said, but he was a black hero. It's like James Brown. I mean, he was like a pillar of the community until we found out other things. But anyway, it's not about James Brown. We're talking about you. You wanted to talk about Cosby, right?
Well, are you done talking about your food?
I am. I'm not done eating, but I'm done talking about it.
What are you eating right now, by the way?
I'm eating a dish. It is a combination of mixed vegetables, rice, and some beef.
And some beef.
Some beef, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm having that, and as always, as I always have, I always eat fruit with every meal. So I'm having an apple. I'm eating along with it. And I'm drinking some kombucha.
Hey, Sean, how you doing? Why y'all be coming on and not ready to respond? That's what I want to know.
Oh, are
You
you
said my
talking to
name
me or
Maurice?
is there someone else? Okay.
Yeah, you and Sean do that, man. You guys will come on, y'all will be hanging out, and I'll be like, hello, how you doing? Hey, Sean.
You already
Well,
know sometimes it's the technical difficulties, you know?
bro, those technical difficulties are frequent. You're like frequent flyer miles, bro.
You funny, bro.
Yo.
Let's see.
Hey,
How you doing,
man.
Sean?
Your week,
Yo,
man. How was your
hey.
week?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just asking, how was your week?
Yo, my week was all right, man. I had a pretty decent week, man. Um,
Okay.
had a pretty decent week. Learned a lot on the job. Uh,
So
I've
how's
been
the fellowship going, man?
pretty good, man. I've been on time. Um,
Excuse me, what do you mean when you say you've been on time?
I said I've been. Say that again, please.
No, did you say that you've been on time?
What?
Did you say that you've been on time for your job?
Yeah,
What do you mean by that?
I haven't been late.
Has that been an issue for you?
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I've
that. So
always,
you and I have something in common.
do we?
So
Because
is that something you struggle with?
I do not want to have anything in common with you, bro.
Well, it's not a matter of what we want. It's a matter of the things being what they are.
I mean, I guess having something in common is okay, as long as it's not what you look like.
Oh wow, man, that's I should be talking to my lawyer, man. You know, I mean, I think that could be like maybe like legal action, man. You know, I don't know if that's slander or libel. I don't know what the term is, man. You know, but that was cold, man. You know, that was like heartless.
Why is that?
Why?
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not going to say anything until I talk to my lawyer. But anyway, how are you doing, Sean? How was your week?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I can't complain, man. I can't complain, man. Guys, do anything exciting this past week?
See, if anybody were to have asked me about my week, I would have said that it was transformative. That would have been the word I would have used.
Transformative.
Yeah.
Why would you use those? Why that word? Why was it transformative?
Because it moved the needle moved. It moved the needle for me in the
What needle?
direction that I'm trying to move into, of becoming a better person.
You know, it seems like your needle gets moved every week.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
I suppose so, man. But like, man, if your needle keeps getting moved, it's gonna break, ain't it?
No, man. No, man. The needle is moving in the direction,
Nah, I'm
in
teasing.
the positive direction.
We're always learning. We're always growing. It's good to see an old man keep learning new tricks.
Well, the thing is that we're all in the process of becoming something. Would you agree with that?
Yes. I do agree.
So you and I are in agreement, which is a good thing. That doesn't happen that often that you and I are in agreement,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so back to the agenda. What's the agenda, man? What's the topic? What topic are we on now?
I already told you, but you keep taking us on a tangent. I think your favorite road is Tangent Avenue.
Well, really, I was never that good at math. Math was not one of my best subjects. So,
Man, if a city comes up with a road called Tangent Avenue, I think that you'd probably be the first home buyer on that avenue.
so if my understanding is correct, a tangent kind of takes something off into another direction.
Yep,
Is that more or less? Is that a fair statement?
it is.
And so a tangent, if you stay on a tangent, where do you wind up? You wind up like way out in way off course, or left field, or wherever.
You could, yes.
Which could be, I think that's what happened with Columbus. That's how he discovered, the Americas.
Yeah, that dude was just stupid, man.
Huh?
I think that dude was just dumb.
Who, Columbus?
Yeah.
Well, we could have a whole conversation about him.
We're not.
But
Let's do this.
That's
Let's
not
do
now.
this. Let's do this. I've allowed you to hijack the meeting for quite some time, sir. Now it's time for me to send in the big guns and take it back. I'm taking
So
back my control.
You're taking control back.
Damn right.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Hey, let me ask you this. So you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk a little bit about Cosby.
All right.
What's your take on Cosby, man? Do you think he did all that to those women?
Are you asking me or are you asking Sean?
I'm asking you. There's accusations of rape. There's accusations of him giving pills. Now, I did read somewhere where he admitted to giving women Quaaludes.
Yeah, he did.
Do you remember the whole story around that?
My short answer to your question is yes.
Yes, what?
Well, you asked me a question, right?
Yeah.
And my short answer to your question is yes.
So you think he raped these women?
I think he gave them drugs either in order to have sex with them, or to have a particular kind of sex with them, or to make the sex that he had with them more enjoyable for him. For whatever reason, yeah. I mean, he admitted it. It's not a matter of opinion. He admitted that he did that.
Yeah, it's I actually pulled up an older article, and this is from CNN, This is back on Tuesday, July 7, 2015. Updated 11:42 p.m. Bill Cosby has admitted to getting prescription Quaaludes to give to women he wanted to have sex with. The documents dating back to 2005 stem from a civil lawsuit filed by Andrea Constant, one of the dozens of women who have publicly accused the comedian of sexual assault. The records were made public Monday after the Associated Press went to court to compel their release. CNN has attempted to reach a lawyer publicist for Cosby to respond to the revelations contained in the documents without success. His longtime publicist David Bruckhow said, "We have no plans to issue a statement." In a sworn deposition, Cosby answered questions from Constant's attorney. When you got the Quaaludes, was it in your mind
Okay,
that you were going... Can I finish?
Well, yeah, you can finish.
Go ahead. What do you want to say, sir?
No, I was just going to say that we understand. I mean, what you're reading, that's like public knowledge. But I guess my question is, it was the fact that they were drugs, or that's my question. Is it the fact that they were drugs, that there was Quaaludes that he gave these women, as opposed to giving them like weed or giving them like liquor to achieve that same purpose? That's my take, is that it was about the fact that it was like drugs, like controlled substance that he gave them, right? Versus like he gave them a big spliff of some chronic weed, or he got them high on alcohol or something. Is that your understanding? Is that your take?
I'm not sure if I understand you. Can you say it again? Because I was really...
Okay, so my question is it what he did was that he gave these women Quaaludes, that he gave them like a controlled substance so he could have sex with them, as opposed to giving them like weed or any other mind alter, anything else that might make them lose their inhibitions or whatever? I guess that's my question to you, is what he did, the main crime, so to speak, that he did was he provided people with controlled substances in order to have, in order for him to then take advantage of them. Is that your take as well?
No. My take is, so this going back and forth here is kind of rocky. So in this, it seems to me that in this, and I'm actually going to put a link into, let me see. I'm going to put a link on the Yahoo video so people can see. And I gotta go to Yahoo to see if anyone has is saying anything, and at this point in time there isn't. Because I've had in the past I've had people ask questions, and then I didn't get back to them. How you doing tonight, DeMonica? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're blessed. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. I'm doing great. My name is Dominica.
I said Dominica.
No, you didn't.
What did I say?
Dominica.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I really apologize.
I said it's all right. How you doing? How everybody doing?
I tried to say a smooth hello. I apologize. So here's my thing, right? Jerry. So Okay. So Cosby admit. Okay, so let me. Can you guys give me a minute or two so I can read this article? Is that cool? Y'all down with that? Y'all up with that? Dominica, you up with that? You cool with that? Look at that beautiful bird.
Yeah, I don't, okay.
Sean, you cool with that? Sean's having problems. Jerry, you cool with that? Jerry, you just gonna
Yeah,
have to be cool.
I am.
You just gonna have to be cool with it, Jerry. All
I
right.
am.
Thank you. So, Bill Cosby has admitted to giving prescription quaaludes to give to women he wanted to have sex with. Newly released documents show. The documents dating back to 2005 stem from a civil lawsuit filed by Andrea Constant, one of the dozens of women who publicly accused the comedian of sexual assault. The records were made public Monday after Associated Press went to court to compel their release. CNN has attempted to reach a lawyer and publicist of Cosby to respond to the revelations contained in the documents without success. His longtime publicist David Brokow said, "We have no plans to issue a statement." In a sworn deposition, Cosby answered questions from Constant's attorney, Dolores Troiani, the lawyer. When you got the Quaaludes, was it in your mind that you were going to use these Quaaludes for young women that you wanted to have sex with? Troiani asked Cosby. Yes, Cosby replied. Lawyer, did you ever give any of those young women the Quaaludes without their knowledge? Troiani asked. Cosby attorney objected and told him not to answer the question. Testy back and forth while Cosby admitted that he acquired 7 prescriptions of Quaaludes with the intent to give the sedatives to young women he wanted to have sex with. He has not admitted to actually drugging any of his accusers. He did say he gave drugs to other people, but when Troiani began to ask Cosby if he gave other people Quaaludes knowing they were illegal, Cosby attorney interjected and said that his client acknowledged giving them only to a woman whose name is redacted. Cosby later testified that he misunderstood woman, meaning the woman whose name is redacted, not women, even though Troiani had used neither word in her question. Lawyer, you gave them to other people, Troiani had previously asked, to which the comedian replied yes. While Cosby attorneys cite 2 women who allegedly say that they knowingly took Quaaludes offered to them by a defendant in the late 70s. One of them being former model Teresa Serge, I don't know, I can't pronounce her last name, who has shared her accusations publicly. They do not address the numerous women who say they were given pills for a variety of reasons, including to cheer up. Several women allege Cosby used cappuccino, soft drinks, wine, or other beverages as vehicles to drug them, but accuser Constant Serig say, I apologize. I don't mean no disrespect. Janice Dickinson, Tamara Green, Victoria Valentino, Donna Matzinger, and a woman identified only as Shalon have alleged Cosby gave them capsules or pills, sometimes billing them as medication before assaulting them. More than 25 women have publicly accused Cosby of raping or assaulting them over the past 40 years. The comedian has never been criminally charged and is vehemently being denied wrongdoing. Several women who had accused Cosby told CNN they felt vindicated by the released information. It's huge. I've worked so long and so hard to tell my story and screamed my story into deaf ears, said Barbara Bauman, who said Cosby assaulted her numerous times, beginning in the late 1980s. Joan Tarshish, who said Cosby raped her when she was 19, said that she never thought this day would happen. First of all, I kept it a secret because I was afraid to talk about it because of Mr. Cosby's power. Then when he came out and lots of other women started to come out, we were called liars, she said. I'm just so relieved that the truth has come out. Victoria Valentino, who asked, who said she was sexually assaulted by Cosby, said other celebrities can see a warning from the revelation. I think the message has to be that fame and wealth and power cannot exempt you from justice, she said today. You cannot exempt anyone from the law. Cosby support falls. Singer Jill Scott was one of the celebrities who has supported Cosby after the allegations started emerging. She previously tweeted, I'm respecting a man who has done more to the image of brown people than almost anyone ever, from Fred Albert to the Huxtables, but she changed course after learning about Cosby's deposition. About Bill Cosby, sadly, his own testimony offers proofs of terrible deeds, which is all I've ever required to believe the accusations Scott tweeted. She later added, I stood by a man I respected and loved. I was wrong. It hurts. When you get it all right, holler. So it goes on. So let's talk. Let's talk about this. Anybody got something to say? Sean, Dominica, Jerry, any questions? Any thoughts? Man, this is an important conversation. We have to have this conversation. I mean, let me be honest. You know, when I was a child, I loved the Cosby Show. I looked forward to watching the Cosby Show. I love Fat Albert. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Fabby Abby. Happy Yibby Dibby, Fabby Dabby. You know what I'm saying? Different world. It's a different world than where you come from. You know what I'm saying? To me, Bill Cosby was huge. You know? But you know, I'm feeling a certain way, and I don't want to put my feelings out there first because I don't want to encourage anybody's thoughts or influence anybody's thoughts. I want to let you all go first, and then I want to interject. So, Dominica.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say about this topic?
No.
Okay. Sean? Thank you, Dominica. Sean?
Thank you for reading the article. I appreciate it because I was actually misinformed with, I guess, most of the article. But I guess with you reading that, it shed a lot more light on the situation. Yeah, a lot more light. From what I've heard was, that, yes, he's done it. Yes, he said yes to all this and yes to all that. But, I don't know. I mean, it's a crazy accusation. My parents grew up watching him. You grew up watching him probably. You know, millions of us did, I mean, I don't know. It's just a really crazy thing. I mean, if it was something that he purposely did, that's kind of crazy, and but I wasn't there at the time, but I don't know, but I just praying for healing for everyone, that was involved, and hopefully everyone can, find the strength to hopefully get better.
Oh my God. Bismarcky passed away.
Yep, I posted it like 30 minutes ago.
Wow. Damn, I wanted to meet him, man. Wow. All right, we're gonna pause at some point in the show, pay respects. Um, I apologize, Sean. Were you done, or were you? Sean,
Yeah, yeah,
were you done?
yeah. I was done. I was done. I was just asking who passed away so I can give my respects as well.
Bismarcky.
Oh wow, they were just wow. Okay, wow. That's pay our respects.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Wow. All right. Jerry, what's your take, man?
So as I listen to you reading the article, I just a couple things go through my mind. One, what I had mentioned earlier that yeah. So I'm still trying to get a better sense of if the actual if what he did was about the fact that he gave this drug, this illegal drug. I mean, it's legal if you have a prescription for yourself, but otherwise, I mean, it's a controlled substance. So, I mean, the fact that he gave women this substance that basically enabled him to have sex with them, yeah, I think that is it the substance? Is it the particular substance? I guess this is what I want to get a sense of. Is it the particular substance that he gave them, the Quaaludes?
Yeah.
Or is it that he gave them anything to alter their whole mindset so he could have sex with them? Now, I don't know. I'm a recovering addict, but I've never been into pills. So I don't really know what effect Quaaludes have on people. I mean, is that I'm assuming Quaaludes are like a downer. Is that correct? As opposed to
Bro,
like a upper.
this is the second time you asked me a question about which I have no knowledge of. The first time you asked me a question about the damn moon, right? And now you ask me a question about prescription medication. Do I look like a pharmaceutical company or a pharmacist to you, brother? I don't
You
know.
asked me.
I'm looking it up though.
You asked me what my take is. I'm telling you what my take is. All
Okay,
right. So
can I just interrupt you real quick to let you know what a quaalude is?
yeah, well, that was my question.
So quaaludes, methaqualone, are a synthetic barbiturate-like central nervous system depressant and a popular recreational drug in the U.S. from the 60s until the 80s. And when its use was made illegal by the drug DEA, the active ingredient methaqualone is an anxiolytic, lowers anxiety, an anxiolytic which lowers anxiety, and a sedative hypnotic drug that leads to the state of drowsiness. These drugs imprinted with the number 714 on the tablet were initially introduced as a safe barbiturate substitute to help induce sleep, but were later shown to have addictive and withdrawal symptoms similar to other prescription barbiturates. Quaaludes are rarely encountered on the streets in the U.S. today, but are occasionally confiscated coming across the border. There you go. So yes, they're downers.
Okay, so he gave these women this drug that basically kind of put them in a
Correction. He only admitted to giving it to a woman.
pardon me.
He only admitted to giving it to a woman. I'm not defending him, but I want to make sure whatever information comes out of the show is correct information based upon what's documented. And in the article, it says that he only admitted to giving it to a woman, but was accused by different women of giving it to them. But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess for me, the bottom line is I think that it is it's inexcusable for a man to give a woman something that puts her in an altered state of mind or altered physical state or whatever, to take advantage of her to have sex with her. You know, I think that's inexcusable, you know. Even more so for someone of Crosby's stature that has the wealth and the you know, just to have the status that he has, to feel like.
But let's deal with the facts that we know, though, bro. Let's deal with the facts that we know. That came out the court, not just our opinion, but let me ask you this. Well, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'm gonna ask you a question. Go ahead. I apologize. No, go ahead, bro. I was wrong. Go ahead, bro. I was wrong.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So all I was saying is that, I think it's inexcusable for a man to give a woman a substance in order to be able to, you know, have sex with her for control, basically. For one person to give another person something that makes them able to control them, you know, for sexual purposes or for whatever reason. Yeah, I think that is, I have major problems with that, you know.
Are you done?
Unfortunately, I think that happens a lot with men in general, whether it's weed or liquor or dope or whatever, you know. But I think that it's unfortunate for that to have to be the case, you know. I mean, sex is supposed to be an enjoyable thing, you know. I mean, it's not supposed to be something where, you know, somebody is under some, you know, whatever. But anyway, that's what I have to say about it for now at this point.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so we heard from Sean, we heard from you, and Dominica declined. See, I had to check my pronunciation there. Dominica declined to comment. So here's what I'm going to say, right? I'm going to say, I want to go through some of the cases. So I'm going to try to find the cases, and I'm going to look through them. I want to see what's said. However, I also want to say this, and I've been, you know, some old heads, you know, has said to me that that there was common practice, just like heroin's common practice today. That people, you know, like people sometimes give women heroin to have sex or crack to have sex. That's a common practice today. It's unfortunate that that was the reality back then, but it was. It was commonplace. And so, one of the things that's going on is that, people are looking at him, back then him, and holding him up to standards today, right? But here's the thing, like, there's so many white men that were powerful back then doing the same thing that weren't held accountable, and I think that's wrong, and I'm not saying that he should be excused, right? But so here's the situation, right? So if he communicated with a woman about having Quaaludes, and she wanted the Quaaludes, and he agreed, and she agreed to have sex, they both agreed that, on that transaction, I can't judge him because it's an agreeable situation. I don't care whether the drug is illegal or not. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because, and here's why, right? This one, drugs has been so phony and so false and so fake, right? And has been largely targeted towards black and non-white communities. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to say that the drug being illegal is going to impact my judgment, right? I will say this. If he did it without her recognition, without her agreement, you know what I'm saying, and he gave her the Quaalude and raped her, he's wrong. And he should be held accountable. Bill Cosby is in jail right now because of Bill Cosby. That's why he's in jail. And this is why I say that, right? So, at the height of go ahead.
So he's back in jail? Because I thought he was released a week ago.
No, he was released, but I'm saying
Okay.
that stint that he did in jail was because of himself. And this is why I say that. When Hannibal Buress was at a huge spring, I forget where it was at, but he was doing this huge show, right? And he was talking about how Bill Cosby called him up. Somebody else did this joke. I think it was Eddie Murphy years ago. And he was like, well, Bill Cosby called me up saying, hey, Eddie Murphy, or however Bill sounds, you need to not cuss, Eddie. You know what I mean? And it was a funny bit, right? So, but Hannibal updated it and was like, Bill Cosby called me telling me that, like, I should not cuss during my comedy. And I was like, but wait a minute, Bill, didn't you rape all these women? And so that is what started the conversation all over again, right? A lot of folks blame white folks for hunting down Bill. They said hold on, I'm on the radio station. You hear me talking? Hold on for a second. Dad, lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Can y'all help me out, please?
Something about he couldn't curse when he was telling jokes.
Oh yeah. So he was telling Hannibal Buress that, like, yo, you shouldn't cuss, and Hannibal was like, so Bill called me up telling me I shouldn't cuss when I'm doing comedy, that I could do better than that, or whatever he said, but wait a minute, Bill, didn't you rape these women? And so that started the whole conversation. Right, okay. And so a lot of people in the black community was like, blaming white folks for attacking Bill when like it didn't come from white people at that point, right? What happened was after Hannibal Buress did that joke, right? Now check this out, right? More women started coming forward, right? And then along in that conversation, right, Bill had dissed one or two of the women from what I remember, right? You guys remember that? Well, anyways, one of the women's lives was impacted by Bill's comments and where she lost her job, right? So now it's a term called libel, is where people make remarks about you and those remarks impact your lifestyle, where you lose, economically. You lose your job, people stop buying your products, etc., etc. And if you can prove that those remarks are a direct result of that economic loss, you can sue them. So she was able to sue Bill. And so those comments and the effect of those comments voided the agreement that they had on the disposition or whatever, that these parties would remain silent, right? That all went away. And because Bill voided that agreement, that information was able to come out publicly. And so the women were able to start speaking about it publicly. Had Bill kept his mouth shut and didn't disrespect those women and cause them to get fired, etc., none of that would have happened. Had Bill been quiet and weathered the storm, it would have died down, it would have went away, and Bill still Bill never would have went to jail. But that is what caused Bill to go to jail. Bill's big mouth is what caused Bill to go to jail. And the sad part is that so many black people are not honest with that. And what pisses me off is that so many black folks, you know what I'm saying, because we're under attack by white folks, we're not doing our due diligence to really research and see what's going on. We're just getting upset and we're just reacting and we're responding. But the sad part about it is that, like, if Bill did all this shit, a lot of women got hurt. And not just white women, there were black women that got hurt in that. You know what I'm saying? And so I had called at least for an investigation, because after 30 women come forward, a diverse group of women come forward, I'm like, okay. And so people were saying, oh, well, the reason why Bill Cosby, you know what I'm saying, they're going after Bill Cosby is because he wanted to buy NBC. Do you guys know how much NBC was worth? Anybody? Nobody?
$1 million.
No. USA Network is the most valuable part of NBC Universal at $11.7 billion. But the NBC network is worth a negative $600 million, according to the Wunderlich security analyst Matthew Harrigan. He also puts the value of the Universal studio arm at about $4 billion. That was in September 27, 2010. Do you want to know what Bill's net worth was at about 2015? His net worth was about $400 million. There is no way Bill Cosby could have bought NBC. I mean, he could have bought. Could have he acquired NBC itself? Maybe, possibly, but they own another subset which was worth more than itself. So collaboratively, It was worth billions of dollars. Bill didn't have that money to buy that. So to me, I had to ask myself, is it because Bill wanted to buy NBC? And I'm thinking like, well, possibly, I guess so, but I don't know. Let me think about this. So then I looked at Byron Allen, right? You know how much Byron Allen is worth? Billions. So if anyone that could have came close to buying NBC is Byron Allen, who has his own network. So if they were going after Bill Cosby, why wouldn't they go after Byron Allen, who was worth way more than Bill Cosby? Didn't make sense to me when I added that up. And then so I'm like, okay, well, if they went after Bill Cosby, why didn't they go after Oprah Winfrey? And why aren't they going after Tyler Perry? So for me, that debunked the fact that white folks is going after Bill Cosby because he wanted to buy NBC. He ain't have enough money to buy NBC, which own many others entities, which was in the billions, right? So that kind of debunked it for me. The other thing for me that kind of messed me up was the fact that I know a little bit about history, and the fact that yes, white men have had white women step up and accuse wealthy black men of rape, right? So that those black men could lose their businesses and their wealth, and white folks take over that wealth, right? So that made me really like, can I really step up and, say that Bill Cosby should be held accountable? That made it really hard for me, right? So for me, I had to dig deep within myself and ask myself, as someone who's been raped and molested, how do I feel about the fact that nobody heard me, or nobody cared about me because I was poor, because I'm black, because I'm a guy, that nobody cared about my story? And then the fact that as a black person, we deserve justice, right? When people do us wrong, they need to be held accountable. And so what I agreed with within myself was to publicly call for Bill Cosby to be investigated, right? And if the investigation showed that he had raped, these women, that he should go to jail. Should he have went to jail? I don't think he should have went to jail, and I'm gonna tell you why. And it's not about a moral thing. It's not about whether or not he was right or wrong. It's about a legal thing. Bill Cosby should not have went to jail because of the fact that when he agreed to testify, right, there was an immunity deal. And that immunity deal meant that he should, that he couldn't be tried, that he shouldn't have went to jail. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it was part of the agreement that these women and their lawyers had with Bill Cosby and his lawyer. So technically, the deposition should not have been allowed to be used against him, and he shouldn't have went to jail. He was guilty, he wasn't guilty and shouldn't have went to jail? No, that's not my stance, right? I say this, that like, people that do good things can do some really bad things, you know what I'm saying? And I think that one thing that frustrates our emotional, our spiritual, and mental progress is hating white people so much that we as black people believe that when black people do something wrong, we shouldn't be accountable for it because white people are wrong. And that leads to so much abuse in the black community and people turning their head away. And then when wealthy black people do something wrong, no one wants to say anything because we're economically, legally, educationally, health-wise, we are oppressed in this country. And I think it's a bum deal, but I don't think that should mean that we don't hold each other accountable. And I'm gonna tell you why. So many times wealthy black people use poor black people as collateral damage. If you go back and you research the eugenics movement, you'll see wealthy black people like your hero there, Jerry. What's his name? Jerry, what's your hero name?
No, he's not my hero. He's
Dude from Great Barrington.
You talking about W.E.B. Du Bois?
Yes. Him and so many other black folks that were wealthy used poor black people as collateral damage, supported eugenics, etc., right? And I think that's wrong. And so I think that we really need to look at what's going on. I think that we need to continue to fight for justice. But I think when someone does something wrong, I mean, think about it like this, right? Black women came forward too. So when we excusing Bill, we're saying that like, okay, so it's okay for people like Bill that's wealthy and have done some good things. That behavior is excusable, and these black women that are innocent, their pain and suffering should be ignored. I don't think that's excusable at all, right? You know what I'm saying? And so, I think that, you know, if Bill raped these black women, I think that, you know, what does that do for the good that he's done? You know what I'm saying? Because he's causing pain in the black community, you know. And so I think that if we don't have these conversations, if we don't, you know, create a bar, you know, for our communities, then okay, cool. But then here's the flip side. All the churches in the black community should close. Because there is no way that any preacher or any religious person can preach to me about going to hell for doing wrong, and then when someone does something like this, right, get a pass. Absolutely not. So there's a lot that we need to work on. There's a lot that we need to address. But I think that, you know, in terms of Bill Cosby going to jail because of the agreement, I think he was done an injustice because of the legal agreement. I think that we would really need to seriously look at the times then, you know what I'm saying, and be honest with ourselves that, like, look, man, like, listen, man, there's so many women and men that sell themselves for drugs, right? And the question is, like, was Bill a hit? I mean, that's a fair question too. Was Bill a hit? And here's why. Like, at that point in time, you know what I'm saying, maybe he was famous and stuff like that, and he had the drugs and stuff like that, and women wanted it because, oh, it was Bill, you know what I'm saying, let's party with Bill. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this is it. I'm saying that there are scenarios, right? and then this was used against him. You know what I'm saying? But then again, like, that's just stupidity. Like, how can you be a leader? How can you be my leader and do something this stupid? You know what I'm saying? To me, that caused, that to me questions his ability to really make real effective leadership decisions. You know what I'm saying? But in any case, right? It's a messed up situation. A lot of people are hurt. The history of this country, not just the history, white women have, you know, continued to blame black men for doing things that we haven't done. And it's led to the death of black men or their lives being ruined. Several years back, a football player lost his scholarships and everything from a lie that the woman, later on said that, she lied. But at the same time, we also have to be honest is that when women are raped in our communities, man, we don't listen to them, right? So a lot has to change in our communities, right? And when I speak on these things, like, a lot of black folks don't even want to listen, man. They just turn their backs and turn their heads. And so it's like, yo, if we really don't want to address this stuff, then what are the purpose of churches for? Right? What's the purpose of the mosque or the synagogues? Right? Like, so I think there's a lot to be learned from this. I think, America needs to change its ways, because had not that history been there, and had we lived in a much better community that, met justice and justice met us and justice loved us in this country, I think Bill Cosby would have probably went to jail a long time ago, or there would have been a thorough investigation a long time ago. You know what I mean? But that, that's not been the case. And so, I can't say that Bill Cosby did this. I don't know. Like you, Sean, I wasn't there. But I will say I'm glad that there was an investigation. I am glad that it came forward. Because I think that we need to understand that, like, yo, our leaders are not infallible. You know what I'm saying? They fail. You know what I'm saying? And, and we should all be questioned and we should all be held accountable. So with that, any statements, Sean, Jerry?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think that I'm not sure where I stand on the fact that he made an agreement that he was not going to be prosecuted. But I think that's one of the bases of our legal system, where deals are made, kind of like deals are made behind closed doors. And in the light of day, it really doesn't look anything like justice,
Well,
But
here's the thing too, though, bro. You gotta look at both sides, right? So let's be real, bro. Let's be honest, right? Could these people that have like millions and millions of dollars, could they go out and get 50 people to say, "Hey, Bill Cosby raped me"? Yeah, they could. Right? So if there was no justice, if there was no court system, if there was no process, Bill Cosby could have lost all his wealth a long time ago. Any of the black men, any of the black women could have lost their wealth a long time ago, like so often have happened years ago. So I'm for one, I'm glad that buffer's there. because I hope I'm wealthy one day, and I surely do not want someone to just be able to say, "Oh, Maurice raped me," or this or that, and then everything's gone just because of an accusation.
So what it really comes down to is being able to, if you have a deep enough pocket to hire the right legal talent, you can pretty much manipulate the system, the legal system. I mean that's unfortunate. That's a sad fact. But at any rate, I guess my overall comment to what you were saying is that yeah, I think that it is inexcusable for people in power, whether they're black or white, to use that power as a means of manipulating other people, whether it's for sex or for whatever. And I think that in the black community, we do turn our heads. I mean, there's stuff that goes on that in the black community does not get acknowledged. And so yeah, there's different layers to it. But I think that if a full investigation was done, that Cosby would be one of many others, who would basically come clean. But anyway, the whole industry, I think, is based on exploitation of women. The whole entertainment industry, and I think a lot of women who basically like the whole Me Too movement, a lot of the top stars, female, actresses, have talked about being, subject to, all sorts of things. But at any rate, so I thought that this was going to go into. You were going to also talk about police brutality.
Hey man, can we just stay on the topic until it's done and I'll move us forward?
Okay. Well, do we have time? Yeah, because
Bro,
if we want to stay on topic, yeah, I
bro,
think
bro,
that.
bro.
No,
I
I
get you.
think. Okay. All right.
I
Cool.
get you. I get you.
All right.
Let's just
Cool.
finish out the conversation. Sean didn't even get a chance to speak, respond. Sean, you got a response? Sean,
On the Cosby situation, right?
yeah.
Um, hmm. I mean, I don't know, man. There's just a lot to say, then there's a lot not to say. I mean, he's out of, prison, and, you know, oh man, I don't know. It's crazy because it's like something. It's like you know, didn't really happen to me. And then of course, with the gender roles, it's not like it happened, a lot like that. But I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with my first point. I think it's crazy. I know it's way before my time. All this stuff occurred or happened and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just think, okay, one thing I could say at least, I think it is kind of crazy that so I think he's doing like a tour, something like that, coming up in the fall, I
Nah,
believe.
let's not talk about that. Let's just finish this conversation. I
Oh,
wanna
okay.
finish. I wanna get through this, and then I wanna continue. There's a couple other things that we have. The NFL and the police brutality. I want us to get through that.
All right, we're. But yeah, I mean, with Bill Cosby, man, I mean, the same stance. I mean, I don't. yeah, I'm not gonna say anything more about it. I mean, I think it's crazy, and a lot of the stuff happened before my time, but I think it's a crazy incident.
I mean, yeah, but it may have happened before your time, but it's still happening. You know, while you're here, you know what I'm saying? Um, so it's still important. You know what I mean? I mean, it's both historical. It's historical, and it's interesting because some white women, some women, not even just white, but some women that I talk to, like, well, he did it. They have proof, and I'm like, okay, because I know I mean I can't say that I followed everything, to the letter. You know what I mean? But um, like I want to hear like what was the proof that they had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean,
You know what I mean?
you enlightened me a little bit more on what was actually you know used as material and stuff like that, and what was said. Going back and forth. So I mean, that seems like that's the most we're gonna get, probably, unless a year or 2 years they put out another documentary with more information, shedding some light. But like I said, I think it's crazy. I mean, for any man, or person to kind of prey on, any gender, like that, just for sexual pleasures or just for their own pleasures, is kind of sickening. Like I said, I don't know, if all this stuff is, again. But yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I've been looking for what evidence was shown. Um, but so there's another thing. There's another part is like, and it may sound like I'm being careful, and I am. I am being careful, and partially because I don't want to support white supremacy, but at the same time, like, I don't want to hurt anyone. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to support the hurt and abuse of anyone. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, yo, like, where does the investigation? Where does the investigation lead us? Like, and I've been looking up, like, what is the evidence that is shown that Bill Cosby raped these women? Like, um, did any of the women go to the get a rape kit done? You know what I'm saying? And then so some people be like, well, um, um, women don't get rape kits because they're raped all over again at the hospital. I'm like, that's not true. They're not raped all over again, although there are stories where like they're not treated very well, and that's wrong. And then some people say that like it's gotten better. You know what I mean? And when women go to court, they're badgered on the witness stand, and I understand that. You know what I mean? Um, but also like you can't just be like someone raped me and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? But so I can't. I haven't yet seen where anyone, any of these women have got a rape kit done after that night. You know what I'm saying? To prove that Bill, sexually assaulted them, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for hard evidence. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want. You know what I mean? If I can get that hard evidence, you know what I mean? If someone can send me links where of reputable sources where it breaks down this evidence. I know people can come forward and they can cry and they can, talk about these bad memories, which just sucks, right? But at the same time, like, it can be orchestrated. And so there's things that we need. We need evidence. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Hopefully this video, once you post it, sheds some light, and somebody will probably provide that to you.
What'd you say?
Hear me okay at all, or not really?
No, I can hear you. I understand what you said. You got a little quiet.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure because this mic is like, I don't know. But I was saying, hopefully when you post this video and and it plays and plays, hopefully somebody will probably provide you that evidence that you need.
So this was on November 20th, 2014. Wonder why this is hard to hear. Give me a second. Wow. Something's happening. All right, I wanted to show video. But can you hear me, Sean?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right. So, but anyway, so it was talking about a former Pennsylvania district attorney who declined to prosecute Bill Cosby on sexual assault allegations in 2005 is speaking out for the first time about why he decided to drop the case. His comments came as past allegations of sexual assault have resurfaced in recent weeks. I didn't say he didn't commit the crime, said former Montgomery County District Attorney Bruce Castor. What I said was there was insufficient admissible and reliable evidence upon which to base a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. That's prosecution speak for. I think he did it, but there's just not enough here to prosecute. So, I mean, he could think he did it whether or not he wanted to, or he can think he didn't do it. Doesn't mean he did it, doesn't mean he didn't. What there is
It goes back and forth.
What there is not evidence to prove that he did it. So that's interesting. And to me that's very important. I mean, the other thing is, like, if my daughter came home, if I had a daughter and she came home and she said that, hey, I was raped, you know what I'm saying? You know, I would, man, listen, I would be so frustrated. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And I mean, it would be crazy. I couldn't tell you what I would do, but I would also have to take the hard road I'd immediately take her to the hospital. You know what I mean? And get a kit done. You know what I'm saying? To have all DNA collected as possible. You know, so yeah, so I mean it's frustrating, man. It's definitely a frustrating case in so many levels. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna stand on one side and say, yeah, he did it. I'm not gonna stand on one side and say he didn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, you know, where's the evidence? You know what I mean? And so and then there's also with the fact that like, you know, during that time, like, you know, even the article was saying like, you know, it was popular for people to take Quaaludes at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, is it a moral judgment? I don't know. I mean, I don't think that some illegal or legal is a moral judgment at all. It's a legal thing. You know what I'm saying? The country does illegal things all the time, you know, and aren't held accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? Police do things that are legal all the time and aren't held accountable for it. You know, so, you know, I'm not going to judge someone because they did something illegal. You know what I mean? But, I mean, if they agreed that, you know, then that was an interaction between them. There's nothing I can say about it. There's no judgment call I can say about it. You know what I mean? Other than, you know, but I'm open. If people send me information, you know what I'm saying, that shows that there was evidence and stuff that he did it, you know what I'm saying, I'll talk about the evidence. Until then, you know what I'm saying, you know, there's an article there that shows that they didn't have sufficient evidence to go forward, you know. So, yeah.
Leave it up until the what the article says, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's all I can do. You know what I mean? Now, NFL, man, that's something I wanted to address. Did you hear about the NFL? So what they want to do is before the first game, the game in the first week. Here, let me get the news because
Could you play a video of it
nah,
on the website?
it's a news article. So this is at ESPN.com. NFL plans to play Black National Anthem before Week 1 games. Lift Every Voice and Sing, traditionally known as the Black National Anthem, is expected to be performed live or played before every Week 1 NFL game, and league is considering a variety of other measures during the upcoming season to recognize victims of police brutality. A source familiar with the league's decision told the Undefeated on Thursday. The song will be performed before the Star Spangled Banner. The source said the NFL season opener is scheduled for September 10th, with the Kansas City Chiefs hosting Houston Texans. Having recently displayed increased awareness about the problems of systematic racism, NFL, in collaboration with the NFL Players Association, is also considering listing the names of victims on uniforms through decals on helmets and patches on jerseys. The NFL also may produce educational programs about victims, among other plans. I'm going to say bogus. I'm going to say bullshit. And I'm going to continue boycotting, and here's why. What's up, Fist? You know what I'm saying? Welcome, Tito Fist Rivera. Hey, bro, you got a camera? You want to get on so people can see you? You're muted, so I can't hear you if you're talking. Before we was discussing Bill Cosby. Now we're discussing the NFL. Um, so the reason why I disagree with that is because white folks always want to try to take control of the narrative, right? And the situation. And we can't continue to allow these bigots to do that. We need to come together. Organizations need to come together, and we need to come up with what is suitable for us. Not the NFL telling us what's suitable for us. Playing Lift Every Voice and Sing one time throughout the season, man, that's bogus, man. That's a sellout ticket item right there. You know what I'm saying? I think like cutting out the national anthem, the national anthem, the traditional national anthem needs to happen. The third stanzas, right, encourages chasing down and killing slaves, because they took the side of the British during the 1812 war. It goes on to say, the article goes on to say that having recently displayed increased awareness about the problems of systematic racism, the NFL in collaboration with the NFL players, so I read that. Moving forward, early last month, Commissioner Roger Goodell in a video admitted that the league had erred in how it handled peaceful NFL player protests of police brutality and systematic oppression. Goodell condemned racism and affirmed that Black Lives Matter, pledging his allegiance to the players and the battle for equal justice under the law. Also in June, the league revealed plans to increase its social justice footprint by pledging to donate $250 million over a 10-year period. Not enough. The league hopes its effort demonstrate a genuine commitment to the public, players, and coaches, and that players' voices continue to be heard. The source wrote in the message, "This is key to educating fans and becoming a prominent voice in the fight to end racism." They need to also hire back Colin Kaepernick. So anyway, yeah, what's your take on that, Sean Bailey? What's your take, bro?
That's actually news to me. I didn't actually hear about that. So that must be really recent. But I mean, I take that as a grain of salt. I think, just like with everything, just like with the Black Lives Movement before when it was big, like last year and the year before, you had companies like Amazon at facilities, painting it on walls and floors and stuff like that, and giving how do I say it, the Black employees more privilege than some other employees and stuff like that. And so, I mean, I just think it's just a trend, and a phase that's just, kind of just, we just want to give this to you guys, and then that's it. Maybe we'll see if this will make you guys quiet down a little bit, maybe. But that's my take on it.
Hey, Tito, man, you want to hop in? You're on mute, brother.
That's fine.
Peace. Good. No, at this topic, I'm just listening, man, trying to feel out where y'all are at with it. I'm sorry I jumped on late. Download the app. And I was with the children before I got on.
Well, man, welcome, man. On this particular topic, you pretty much heard everything. What the NFL is doing to appease black folks, and try to quell, what our feelings about it. They basically are willing to play the Black National Anthem the first game in the first week, which is like, really? Seriously, that's it? Like, almost 50% of your players are black in the NFL. You talking about one time? Like, nah, man. 250 million, going to, nah, man. Like, the NFL, like, generates billions. $250, man, is like a dress. It's like me putting a nickel in the toilet, man. Like, seriously? So, uh, yeah. But that's pretty much the topic right now, man. What do you think about that? You think that's enough? You think more should be done, or?
You asking me?
Yeah. No, I'm asking you, Tito.
Well, I might seem. I think that sports entertainment in general is often used as a distract people from urgent and relevant issues. So somewhere along the way, while I do see value in athletics, martial arts, degree of competitive sports do have a value in the community, that I I choose to abstain from supporting like major national franchises and businesses, because I feel my time and energy has to be invested of my life. Whatever time and energy I have left, I choose to be somebody that invested into other things. But I've met people along the way that are avid sports entertainment enthusiasts, and we may have connected on some level, but that's them,
Right.
you know. So I have people who invest a significant portion of their mental energy and their time to knowing who the sports celebrities are, who the players are, teams, and all types of like I almost say sports science, right? And sports politics. But that's just not an area that I personally into. So the only thing I can say is I'm glad when Colin Kaepernick did a video PSA for Mumia. I thought that was a good look. When I hear about the victories of some of these sports teams and their names or changing their mascots or changing their logos, because people that I know and work with have been advocating for that for years, and it seemed like a lost cause. But they found victory in time. I find that to be positive. And even recently, with the announcement of breaking going into the Olympics, I thought, man, that sounds cool, you know. But those would be my, just random thoughts about the question of these things that these, because they're all capitalist ventures. They're all run predominantly by wealthy vulture capitalists, and they're proxies from what I've observed. I'm half corrected if I'm wrong, but it doesn't matter what color your skin is. If you think like the devil, you the devil too. So a lot of billions of dollars, a lot of people are trained to think in the dichotomy, in the duality of things being one way or the other. And sports is just another arena where that's part of the psychology of the competition, us versus them. So of course, when the Pentagon and when the society halls are looking to determine venues for where they could program people on a mass level to think in that way, which suits their agenda, then sports is a way to, from my analysis. But like I said, I'm not really an expert on sports. I could be missing something in my thought process. So I'm always welcome to criticism and feedback about that. Thank
You know, I wouldn't have such a problem with sports if um if it wasn't so white male dominated. You know what I'm saying? If more non-white folks were able to invest in own teams and et cetera, et cetera, and it wasn't so, you know, I mean, because many of the owners are those that make it rich from the businesses that they own in the country, which have so much money invested in it from um, owners of businesses that date back to slavery, you know, and that can directly be tied into the oppression of so many other people. You know what I'm saying? And so, I'm still on a boycott of the NFL until I really actually hear something that's really actually worth supporting. Um, you know, but I haven't heard anything yet. Um, I will say that, you know, coming from where the gladiator sports used to be, it's gotten a lot better and a lot safer. So, you know, I'd rather people be playing with pads and helmets and running with a football rather than, you know, going at each other with swords and shields and stuff like that, man. So, you know, but nah, I hear you, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, but we're going to go into like, you know, and it'd be great to hear you, man, on this topic, which is why I invited you to come on tonight. And I would like to get you on a further, on a future segment, man, so I can have, you know, interview you, man. But we're going to talk about police brutality in Springfield, Massachusetts, right? Because there's, you know, a lot of times, man, people only think about police brutality as a cop beating the hell out of somebody. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, um, this cop, man, Officer Hector Santiago, posted an altered image of George Floyd's statue in New Jersey. It was meant to be a meme, but it shows a gun in Floyd's hand and is being pointed at a pregnant woman's stomach. Officer Santiago hasn't been out patrolling the streets for a while. He's actually been on outside inside duty due to an injury. Commissioner Claprod wants to see the outcome of the investigation before taking any action. So for now, he's sticking with this statement. This type of divisive behavior is inconsistent with the expectation of Springfield police officer, with the Springfield police officer, and only deepens the divide and sense of mistrust that pervades our society right now between police officers and the public. We're sworn to serve, and it is unacceptable. And in light of the social media controversy, Claprod has also ordered the department to look into trainings to get to the bottom of this sort of issue. Man, what's your take on that, Tito?
My first instinct is when an officer does something like that, he went AWOL. He was looking for a way to be home playing PS, whatever,
Word.
and collect the check. You got to know when you're going to do something like this. You already know how the surveillance is, and there really ain't privacy. Something is going to pop up. And my first hunch would be that's what he was intending to do. It's still going to look bad for him. Like I said, that's just my theory based on my research and experience and looking at the intelligence systems of today. That, you know, everything we do is data. That data is stored up and analyzed by all types of complicated AI algorithms, images, facial expressions, even audio now, with the whole Clubhouse app and the ability to process audio signals at the speed of light. So all of it is theater. I learned that at some point. It's all theater. they're all actors, but a lot of what we deal with is a result of that whole strategy. So when somebody does something like this out of the norm, and it's a kind of like I wouldn't say I know more about the case than what you presented here. So if I was to do more research on the particular officer, I might discover that at some point he was affiliated with a certain society besides the fraternal orders of police. Or maybe he comes from a street organization background. And sometimes what could be seen as a benefit to people from the urban neighborhood you had somebody who came through the street environment go up and infiltrate into the police departments, and then their quote unquote former OG or that society that particular set works with within the community gets an order. Like these things are destabilizing. They draw attention. It could be for a totally separate reason, specific to a gender issue in that particular town or state, that we can only hypothesize on what that would be. But I've seen situations like that, where people act out, they do something crazy because it helps to increase the burden on the department. So that even though they're taking a little bit of a hit, the policy says because they're part of a union, they got to go home. Maybe they still get paid, but there's another agenda going on there. That's part of the issue for me. It's like the culture is just so toxic and corrupt. We're in a very desperate situation when it comes to the idea of internal security within our neighborhoods and communities. When we grow a tomato, it's a very simple and understandable process. We plant the seed, we cultivate it, we provide it the nutrients, it'll give us food. But these processes that deal with government and policing, the law, justice, they've become very complex and very easy to exploit and manipulate. So I try to be careful about judging a person who is in the mix from one way or the other. And inside the Young Lords right now, that's a big debate, right? Because some say having police officers and politicians in our ranks is a good thing because that's going to defend the organization, and we're like above that. Things have progressed. But others would make the claim that that's a pretty demented way of thinking because those have always been the people that have been the most corruptible. And then I'll finish by saying this. In the years since I started to take on political consciousness and be a student of these ideas, members of my family have orientated in a position diametrically opposed to myself. And an example of that is my sister decided to go take a job in corrections. Now, after all these years of working in corrections, her philosophy, her psychology, and her sociology is that of a cop. And under normal circumstances, she has been taught that anybody like myself must be opposed to her because I'm opposed to corruption in the police force. And you're on mute, but I'll just finish by saying that corruption in the police force goes beyond police brutality. So understanding all the ways that corruption, as you said earlier, it originates in a classical definition of slavery, but that it exists still to this very moment right now as a modern interpretation of slavery, which has never ended. And there are more slaves today on the earth than at any other time in previous history.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially with the fact that slavery is legal in prison, you know what I mean, and the growing numbers of prison industrial complex. Sean, you got anything to say to that? To what Tito just stated?
I agree with everything that he was saying. I mean, there's a lot more to behind the government than what we see and what we believe. They are being controlled. So, I believe everything that he's saying. So I agree.
All right. And so what I do want to, Tito, we start off talking about Cosby, man, and it was a very complex conversation because of the history of black men being blamed for rape, powerful black men, but at the same time, during that time, giving women quaaludes and people taking quaaludes was very popular, but also, I had called for an investigation, especially, when black women started coming forward, because I'll be honest with you, man, it's hard for me to say that, like, off of the statements of white women who continue to blame black men for rape and lie and still looking at Emmett Till, right, where the woman who blamed Emmett Till, as far as I understand, she's still alive, but she's never gone to jail for that, right? No woman that I know of in the history of this country have gone to jail for falsely accusing black men of rape. You know what I mean? But does that mean that if Bill Cosby raped these women that he shouldn't be held accountable? I don't believe that either. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that, we looked at an article where a lawyer back in 2005, I believe, or 2015, stated that he wasn't going to bring charges against Bill Cosby because he didn't have sufficient evidence. You know what I'm saying? And so my question is like, do we have evidence, that he did rape these women? You know what I mean? And so for me, it's a complicated issue. You know what I mean? I do want to say that women are abused in the black community, black non-white communities on a daily basis, and we do not do enough, if we do anything, to really support and help them out. You know what I'm saying? And we need to step up our efforts to support the women in our communities. But I think we should use this case, to look at. I think that oppression has impacted our community so much, and we're so damaged that we're okay to say that, like, he just didn't do it without looking at any evidence, any information, because we're pissed off at white people for the damage that they've done. You know what I'm saying? And we need to look at the damage that black people have helped them do, wealthy black folks. If we look at, W.B. Du Bois support for eugenics and other wealthy black folks back in the days who supported eugenics. If we look at the doctor who supported the Tuskegee experiment, which they purposely told black folks with syphilis, with gonorrhea, that they had, that they could help them, and then they brought them in, and they did nothing but watch gonorrhea take its place, to take its process throughout the bodies, and so there's a lot of healing that we have to do. You know what I'm saying? And we have to really think about, do we want to react to oppression, or do we want to be better? You know what I'm saying? Better people than that. You know what I'm saying? And, and any evidence that people have that have been brought to light that shows that proves that Bill Cosby raped any of these women, he did agree to getting quaaludes to give to women, or to a woman, so on and so forth. But none of those women that the quaaludes, there was a woman that came forward and said that he had sexually assaulted her, and he did give that a quaalude too, but it doesn't say that. So it's like a back and forth where she said this, he said that, but no evidence was provided that a rape happened. You know what I'm saying? And me myself, I'm afraid to hold anyone accountable um, without any evidence. You know, and it's unfortunate, but when you have resources at this level, you know what I'm saying, at that level, it's quite easy to get people to come together and say, hey, he did this. But there's a lot of women that's accusing him, man, and it's like, you know, but there's no evidence. And none of them have evidence, man. That's what puzzles me. Like, none of them, I keep looking for it, but none of them have went and got a rape kit done. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that puzzles me. And I'm like, well, none of them went and got a rape kit done. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And I understand that it's frustrating and it's a hard process, but none out of 60 women, you know, directly connected to him went and got a rape kit. That's puzzling to me. You know what I'm saying? And so, but that was the topic that we had, and just based upon what I said, you know, I wonder what your take is, Tito.
Well, first, I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts with me about the topic. I was already trained for a number of years in the science of political analysis. And there's certain techniques, just like if you could imagine any discipline, any trade skill, any academic discipline, there's certain techniques you do, and as you practice them, you get better at working with them. Like if a scientist wanted to determine whether his hypothesis was true or not, he might do an experiment, right? And he could then determine within some range of possibility whether the results are true or not, and write a paper and submit that paper to a world consortium for review. But that one experiment is not enough to declare something is true. It would require other people to repeat the experiment, right? And then they will build a consensus. I mean, somebody might even come at it and say, hey, I don't think your results are correct, and these are the reasons why. But they might go and do the experiment, and the results they get verify the results that the first person got. How does this have to do with Bill Cosby? Because in this small form, I'll lay it out simple. There's a group of people who are, I would say, some of the worst and most inhumane beings on the earth. They call them crisis, economic, mercenaries, actors, people whose group is designed so that when they get the call and say, hey, these dudes guys are about to make a really big move and we don't like what they're doing, go and shut them down. We don't like what this guy Michael Jackson is doing, go stop him. We don't like what this guy Bill Cosby's trying to do behind the scenes to empower black people, go shut him down. And the list goes on. Within black society, just like within indigenous society, there are groups of people that conspire to the benefit of their people. And when those individuals who reach some of the most influential levels within their own societies start to strategize on something bigger, if their opponents, if other societies that they share that space with determine that a particular strategy, it conflicts with their interests, or in many cases the challenge is black and indigenous people come up with brilliant ideas, so they want to co-opt our ideas, they want in, and if they can't get in, then they'll try to sabotage it, shut it down, or slow it down so that they can catch up with the idea and just replicate it or do it themselves. Now, there are some areas where we could challenge and say they've been able to find a space to lead in, and we're still trying to catch up with them. Like, I don't see Black America putting any spaceships in orbit, any satellites, right? Not to say it's impossible, but it's just to say that you don't see no Native Americans on the space station. Um, but I mentioned that because for me, it's a well understood fact that amongst the power elite, one easy way, perhaps the cheapest strategy that still works because of all the people they have to pay off to pull off a national tactic such as what they've done, and they have in front of everybody's eyes, done it again and again, is to use the power of the fear that a man or a woman are corrupt, are sexually immoral, because it strikes at a vulnerability in the human psyche more than if they were a murderer.
Well, especially in a country that's dominated by religion, of course it's going to do that. But let me ask you this, because here's my take. Like, because so in the black community, many people believe that white folks was after him because of he wanted to buy NBC. But then when I look at the wealth of NBC, Bill Cosby was worth $400 million then. He didn't even have enough money to buy NBC, right? I mean, maybe NBC itself, but at that point in time, NBC owned several other countries that was worth $11 billion. There's no way Bill Cosby could have acquired that. He would have known that. You know what I'm saying? So
The issue wasn't what he could do by himself. The issue was that he was out on the trail looking to rally black elites together in a consortium. He was the face and the voice of a major multi-billion-dollar deal. So that's who they targeted. Because once that happened, other people just fell away from the whole idea.
but so what? So why not go after Byron Allen, and why not go after Tyler Perry, and why not go after Oprah Winfrey?
That's a good question. I wish I knew. I wish I had.
So that because Byron Allen is really taking on Comcast Industries, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I mean. And so that's why I'm like, I mean, here's the other thing too. Like Bill Cosby bang got in bed with the industry years ago. I mean, Bill Cosby has always been careful with the industry, even when even when his stances on white supremacy, right? Bill Cosby has been careful. Bill Cosby has never really been a rah type person, unless he was talking about young black youth and the way that they dress, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? But when it came against the system, like Bill Cosby had a demeanor where he was cool, calm, and collective from the videos that I seen that he did years ago when he was educating, which, you know what I'm saying, you know, I respect him for, always have respected him for doing that. But the reality is that like, white folks weren't afraid of Bill Cosby. You know what I'm saying? He didn't give them reason to be afraid of him. You know what I'm saying? That's why they invested so much into Bill Cosby, and that's why they protected him. You know, when you look at, all right, so check this out, right? So with these women, Bill Cosby had a deal, right? And that deal was that he testify for immunity. You know what I'm saying? Now, you remember when this stuff came up again, right? And he was being questioned and all this other stuff. That didn't happen because he was a witch hunt at that point in time. What happened was Hannah Buress was doing a comedy skit similar to one that Eddie Murphy did years ago, where Bill called him and was like, you know, hey man, you know, you shouldn't be cussing, you know, and Hannah Buress was like, well, Bill, didn't you rape all these women? Like, you know, who are you to morally tell me, you know, blase blase? That right there ignited the conversation all over again. You know what I'm saying? It went viral on social media. You know, people started asking all these questions. You know what I'm saying? So it was the actually comedy routine of a black man that sparked this conversation. What landed Bill Cosby in jail was Bill Cosby's mouth. And here's why I say this: is because Bill Cosby started speaking bad about some of the women. One of them got fired, and because of what Bill Cosby said and her getting fired, it was libel. And that right there undid the secrecy of the depositions, which then allowed them to be made public, which then was allowed to discredit Bill Cosby. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I'm curious as to what your response would be to that. Being that because my thing is like I'm all for fighting white supremacy. I'm all for holding the U.S. government for accountable. But as a young black man who was in foster care, molested, abused, and raped, right, and no one in the black community really cared or gave a damn, right? There was a part in time where in our communities, and I don't know about in the Latino community, but in the black community, like when you poor, you come from a poor family, it doesn't matter what happens to you, like shut up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, this is wrong. At some point in time, we can't use white supremacy as an excuse to ignore what's happening to people in our communities. We have to care about each other, and if we don't care about each other, then how can we build an infrastructure where we can support each other?
I appreciate that. It goes back to what you said before in response to why human sexuality strikes such a deep nerve in people.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if my analysis focused on the political aspects of what was happening, because a lot of times we can find a lot of the cause for why a person's previous misconducts are surfaced and pushed to the forefront of national, international consciousness.
Right.
There's an economic part in that.
Absolutely.
And there's a political part in that, because somebody's going to decide that they're going to invest resources into getting a specific trade group, such as publicists, public relations consultants, bloggers, to start to create this conversation with their audience around a particular issue with certain people. And they stay in business because every few days and every few weeks a different contract comes up, and they got to decide how they're going to make their money for the next week and the next month.
Absolutely.
Now, with that to the side, let's take a closer look at what's going on with patterns of sexual misconduct and our community having the power to do its own internal investigation, meaning that the United States justice system may not work at all or even address the scale of issues that we would want to have investigated. Like, it may not be even investigating the kind of things that we would want investigated and bringing to justice and to light the things that we need brought to justice and light. But imagine if we had the power to have our own investigation institutions. Like, look at the Jewish community. I don't know if you've ever lived around a Hasidic Jewish community, but I worked and I lived in a neighborhood, an area, not in Brooklyn. That's what people like to think. This was actually in New Jersey. They had their own police. They had their own fire department. They had their own emergency medical squad. They had their own courts, separate from the U.S. legal system, right here in the U.S. A Talmudic court which you have to be Jewish to go to. They figured out how to create these institutions apart from those provided by the U.S. legal system and the U.S. institutions for reasons maybe worth exploring at a different time. But what if the Black and Indigenous community had that? What about unfounded claims and charges of misconduct that often also happen? Somebody being accused of something that didn't happen. And when things do happen that cause trauma or harm, and so many cases of people growing up and at some point in their life coming forward and saying, hey, I've struggled emotionally or mentally, and I'm only beginning to pick up the pieces and start to try to understand why. So that I guess I'll finish with two parts to this. One is I believe that a person should be able to have a path to redemption. I think that in many cases, forgiveness can be earned, but there's a process where they have to also be accountable and they have to take responsibility for what they've done. And if the community determines that there's some consequence for their actions, then they should face those consequences. Because a lot of people who either become uh, defenders, offenders, right? You ever heard that? If you don't become a defender, you're likely to become an offender.
Yeah.
So, maybe you would want to comment on that too. So it's like to say, now I'm 41 years old. Between when I was young, I went through what I went through growing up in the ghetto neighborhoods that I lived in. And now I've met thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people, and many young people, especially, who behave what I would otherwise say insane and self destructive. And many people during my generation got caught up in the gangster nations. And I remember between like 16 and 23, people that did all types of very immoral, corrupt things. And I fortunately never felt compelled to join. If I join the Bloods, maybe I'll be treated better. I'll be safer. Maybe if I join the Crips, that's a better choice. Maybe if I join the Latin Kings, that's the right one for me because they say I'm Puerto Rican. But believe it or not, hip hop was my saving grace because every gangster who wanted to try to be an MC somehow could never make beats better than me. I became the grandmaster. Like I was the person that no matter what gang they were in, my studio became like Switzerland. But I say that because I clearly remember shit that people did back then. Things that just was so wrong. And a lot of things that happened that nobody like maybe karma, but nobody went to jail. And the consequences played out in the person's own life. And they suffered, they struggled with addiction, in and out of prison. And many people didn't make it. They committed suicide, they died, they still in jail. And there were a few that made it. And when I think about the changes that they had to go through, the work they had to go through to recover, to reclaim their humanity, and then especially when I learned about the overarching constructs of oppression, find it easier for me to get past the rhetoric that is polarizing and try to remember that there's always three victims in these situations. There's the person that was victimized, there's the victim of the victimizer, or like to say, there's the trauma of the victimizer, who in many cases in our community had themselves been dehumanized. And then there's the victim that is the community. because a lot of times the family and the friends and the people around the victim, the victimizer, also suffer. So there's healing needed for all of them, for all the people. And if you're the leader of a community and you do something or something comes out about you, you know, there's a lot of people that's going to suffer or hurt because of a decision that you may have made earlier in your life that was not the right choice.
Right. I mean, and you know, I'm glad you brought up the whole, you know, brought that up. I want to say goodnight to Sean, to Jerry, Dominica, who joined us earlier on throughout the night. And I want to thank you for coming on, Tito. Tito, can you tell us can you tell us about yourself?
Who, me?
Yeah, Tito.
What you want to know?
Let people know who you are, your credentials, so on and so forth, so they know who I'm talking to.
Well, my hip hop name is Grandmaster Iron Fist. Everybody calls me Fist for short. My name is Tito. I started doing hip hop in '95, but I grew up around it since I was born. I was raised in the Manhattan. I was born in New York City. So it was really cool to grow up in that environment with breaking and some famous artists were still street performers when I was a little kid. You know, my primary element is, I would say, music, making music, producing, engineering. But I took the grandmaster because when I was thinking about what I would do in hip hop, I said I had met and seen people who were DJs, who were MCs, some people who were DJs and MCs, but I wanted to master all the elements of hip hop. That was going to be part of my thing. I was going to be a b-boy, a graph writer, a DJ, and an MC, and more. But the way things turned out as I got older, I had an injury, work-related injury when I was 19 that has created a degenerative condition, my spine and my hip. In my early 20s, I had my first child, my eldest daughter now. And basically, since then, a significant portion of my life has gone to raising my children. Because one thing I wanted to do different, I guess my first resolution was that I just wanted to be there for my children in a way that mostly the men in my family had never been there for. Even as far back as we know from my grandfathers and great grandfathers, they were all like criminal minded. I hate to say it like that, but it's true. Um,
Criminal minded, you've been blinded. Looking for a style like mine, you can't find it.
like you won't hear no stories in my family tree about somebody who was a doctor, lawyer, or a famous person that did something significant. About the only thing that's common is everybody went to jail, everybody was poor and struggling to survive, and nobody really knew much about how to make a family work together to get ahead. And so I guess in my life, I was inspired to try to change that. And it's been difficult, but I continue to strive to persevere. Um, I spent a lot of time trying to do for the better too as a human being myself, staying away from alcohol, staying away from drugs, getting into recovery, which is a big thing because a lot of times the music and drug use goes hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's actually why I created Poetic Recovery, so we can have a place to enjoy ourselves. You know what I mean? And I know lately it's been, you know, discussion oriented and cultural expression. You know what I mean? Which, man, if you got some beats, you can let us hear, man. That'd be pretty dope. You know what I mean? But uh, you also do some community organizing as well, though, right?
Yeah, that's been taking up a lot of my time.
Tell us about that. Some of the organizations you work with. What are you doing? Like, what are your focuses?
Let's see. Well, from 1997 to 2010, all my hip hop community organizing was grassroots. It was organic. Whatever city I was in, whatever neighborhood I was in, I just went out, did my hip hop, and along the way worked to build crews and teams and ultimately movements, right? By about 2005, I would say I hit a very important turning point because the work that we do would quickly get the attention of local leaders, like local politicians, local society leaders, local business owners. And I was in an area it wasn't New York. When I was a teenager, I moved to Pennsylvania, and I lived in these towns like Easton, Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania, even Reading, Pennsylvania. That's like, I say that's the second city I love next to New York City. You know, I have so much love for there. I met my children's mother there. I have a lot of good history. But
So, what type of movement, what type of work did you do that caught the attention of political officials and
you
business
know,
owners?
when I draw it down, it really came down to the idea that as an organizer, working with the philosophies embedded in hip hop, it wasn't about the fact that I could write a good program or I knew how to run a project. It was that because there was different elements of hip hop, and if you've worked with hip hop, you know they're like sub movements. So sometimes graffiti writers know MCs because they kind of been around the same neighborhood, but they don't work together all the time because their elements are a little different. And even amongst the MC community, you could have five MCs that are kind of tight and work with each other, and you go 2 blocks over, and there's another group of MCs that know each other and work together. And the two groups don't even know of each other. In
Right.
these little towns, there was no community organizing. So you could have a DJ, a producer, and an MC on the same block, and they wouldn't even know because in those little towns, they was all kind of sheltered into themselves. The DJ didn't want to tell everybody he was a DJ because he was scared he might get robbed. The producer didn't want to tell everybody he had equipment. And for various reasons, the community was not as internetworked as they could have been. And there was no vision for how to bring all these people together. But I had already did from city to city components of a vision, which was about the Hip Hop Culture Foundation. And that was about whether you was a DJ, B-boy, MC, graph writer, if you was an artist, reggaeton, reggae, right? That I could come, do a facilitation assessment, assess where you were at in your process of development, and we could draw up a blueprint, a plan between where you are and whatever your dream is. You want to be heard, you want to be known, you want to do a show, you want to go to a rock steady crew battle, you want a community wall. You know, especially everybody was young, so they kind of had a very clear picture of their vision. And many times, a whole lot of hope of how to materialize,
Right.
how to go through the steps of making it reality. And a lot of times, family didn't care, church didn't care. There's nobody in those towns that really cared. So, by implementing all these different projects and programs and development sessions simultaneously, I would create a flow around my home of people coming in and out. I would use that to my advantage when the police and local neighbors would think that I was selling drugs, and they would mess with me predictably in these little towns. They would end up sparking a police investigation, And when they discovered that I was an altruistic humanitarian artist, they were like, "Oh, we should refer him to this department, or we should put him in touch with this person." So usually that would happen within the first year of wherever I moved to. And when they saw that all these young people, sometimes hundreds of young people, were in some level of unity around a issue, they wanted to figure out how they could exploit that. Because in some of these little towns, if you could get 300 people to show up to City Hall, you can control the politics in a little town like that. Because it's hard enough to get 5 or 10 or 20 or 30. I think even the most sophisticated local politicians were really making a lot of noise if they could get 50 to 100 people together and mobilize that much. So they tried to co-opt me, and it just didn't work after a while. But all that experience from organizing development projects um, became a segue into a more complicated look at what was actually happening. You know, when Dead Press said it's bigger than hip hop, when I was young and I first heard that, I was actually a little offended. I thought, what could be bigger than hip hop? Hip hop is the shit. It's everything. But as I got older and I saw that there were higher powers in the political arena and higher powers in the economic arena, and there was a power structure that people could have authority over your life and your ability to accomplish things in a community, you didn't even know who they were. I decided to start to study um, the theories and the science.
When you say you started to study, did you go to school or did you self-study?
I self-study, well, because some of those people in the community saw what I was about, and they gave me books to read and said, "Hey, you should read this." But it wasn't hip hop, so I didn't read them right away. But eventually, I found time to read them, and it hit me hard. Like, oh shit, this is the truth. This book explains the struggles and the challenges of organizing in my community. I wish I would have read this and studied this before I did all the organizing work. Probably would have been able to do even more and head off some of the challenges we faced. But I lived through it. I went through it, from groups coming together to groups splitting up, starting albums that never finished. Um, getting demos to Def Jam and having Nas and Jay-Z and Fabulous hearing my beats, but not making it to the session because the guy who was supposed to give me a ride got locked up. And in the 20s, the drinking and the smoking and the partying instead of an actual studio session. That's sucks, but that was the reality, and it was common. A
So let
lot
me,
of people. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
so let me ask you this, man, because earlier on you talked about recovery and you're talking about beats, man. And I would like to invite you to come on, man, and play some of your music, bro, on Friday nights. You know what I mean? So people can hear some of your music. And if you got some music, man, I'd like to put some on the website. Um, you know, and because it's different artists, different poets. You know what I'm saying? I always want to work with people. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. We already spoke about Hip Hop Congress. You know what I'm saying? We're having we got the okay from UMass. So we're just we gotta have another conversation with my boy about doing a discussion of Hip Hop Congress at UMass, and once you get in that application, so we can get you to on the panel. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
You
I
know,
did the application.
you did send the application.
Yeah, and I also happen to connect with a
Well,
brother who has been working with me about setting up something at this high school in the Bronx.
wait, I'm looking in right now, right? And I don't see. I see excluded work. El Fondo de Trabajo, New York City, one Noticias segment. I see the attachment of for high school club.
Yeah, that's the document I wanted you to see, and you should also have the link to the PDF that I filled out.
Oh, okay.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I just click open. Oh, sweet. Okay. Give me 1 second here. So the faculty advisor there. So that's going to be at a school.
Well, New York City, we could ultimately have college chapter, high school chapter, and a community chapter.
Okay. Well, so
In
which
this
one
case,
is? So you're going to start with? I mean, with this particular application, because each chapter is going to have a separate application. So is this one focused on the community chapter first, or what?
well, I would definitely see community chapters there, but we also happen to have a high school chapter. So the question becomes, how do you feel the best way to organize that if out of the same blueprint for the community chapter, I can also start a high school chapter?
No, that's fine. I'm just saying that like there needs to be a separate application for each chapter. You know what I'm saying? So I would say start with the community first, then build the school chapter, right, and then build the college chapter. I mean, it really doesn't matter which order you go in. You
Well,
know
all
what I'm
I
saying?
can
But I
say is
know.
they're going to be happening simultaneously. It just so happens
Oh,
that a proposal that I helped this teacher to write, like, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago,
yeah.
he just graduated and he went back to the same school where he submitted the proposal. And this week, the principal came up to him and was like, I'd like to talk with you about, excuse me, that hip hop proposal you made. Now, what was the original proposal about? The original proposal was about starting a Rainbow Coalition high school chapter. But the idea was that people from different organizations could come in and speak to the youth, and the youth could choose which organizations had projects or programs or opportunities they wanted to work with. Since then, for some reason, the focus became a hip hop organization or a hip hop club. So I sent the teacher the information about the Hip Hop Congress, and he's going to be meeting with the principal on Monday, showing him the website, showing him the information. And so it's like to say, different opportunities are just going to pop up like that.
Okay, no, that's dope. So, so you're gonna build a community chapter. You and him are gonna build a school chapter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So this particular application is this particular application for the community chapter or the school chapter?
I put him on both, right? I thought it was just going to be the fact that I was starting 2 chapters.
Okay. Can you can you send me? Okay, so can we put this one in for the community chapter?
Yeah, I
And
could do
when
chapter first.
yeah, and when the teacher has the go ahead, right, and then the school agrees, can you all submit an application for the school chapter?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll send this one immediately to
Well, let me correct it.
okay, and you're gonna send it back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's dope. And then so if you can send me the information on this on the community chapter, right? I could put it up on the Northeast Region Hip Hop Congress with your contact information and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll send it out. I'll be doing an update for this month, and I'll send it out to the national so that people know that, you know. Now, what year? Correct me if I'm wrong. You're in Queens, right?
Yeah, that's where I live.
Okay, so I apologize. I didn't mean to say that. I apologize. Um, um, so I'll let it, you know, put the word out, you know, that there's a chapter growing up there. Um, that way people connect with you and stuff like that. And then I'll bring, once me and Jose figure out the bare bones of the Hip Hop Congress discussion at UMass, I'll bring you in on that discussion so that you can be on the panel. Is that cool?
Sure.
All right, sweet, sweet.
So as far as that point between hip hop organizing and what came after that, once I opened my mind up to the science of community organizing that went beyond just hip hop and the business of organizing, the grassroots aspect, that's when I got open to the fact that before us and from previous generations, there was people who had already been dealing with these same issues. And that's when I thought, well, maybe instead of doing everything as an individual with local people, maybe the right idea is to unite with larger organizations that have been doing this longer so that they can help, us to accomplish our goals. And about the same time, two of those organizations were the Panthers and the Zulus. So when I met somebody and they heard about my interest of connecting with these organizations, they put me on right away because they knew all the years and all the work that I have been doing in the community, and they thought it would be a perfect fit. And so since like 2010, 2011, I started training and working on projects that those organizations had in mind. And that has just blossomed into a situation where today I work with, I have a seat at the table with different indigenous communities, African communities, political communities, hip hop, music, culture related organizations. And my thing is to be like to organize at this level. Um, I'll give you an example. I'm right now finalizing the agreement to be a lead resource development officer for an NGO in Kenya that's building a hospital, building water wells in a rural area. And that's like, I think, the second or third project related to the United Nations that I've been working on. The
Now,
other
does that mean you got to go there?
Well, ultimately, yeah, it is a good idea. I would love to, and most likely, I will be going to Kenya with my children because I got involved with this project.
Have you been to any other countries?
Not really.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth, I'm not going to make it up. I mean, I'm not going to count over Jamaica or Mexico, like I've been out of the country. But that's definitely on my goal list is to not, like I said, since 2003, being a dad has been my primary thing. And I told you a little glimpse of my background. So overcoming a lot of the habits that came along with where I grew up and when I grew up, that's part of the story, right? I don't smoke weed every day no more. There was a time when I would be there telling people, yo, this is my last L, yo. I ain't smoking no more after this one. I need to quit. I don't even got money to be smoking. I don't know how I keep doing this. I'm coughing and shit. I don't even enjoy it no more. And then the next day, someone would come through with an L and I just happened to be steamed for some reason and be like, fuck it, roll it up. And then when they would hear me say again, yo, this is my last L, they'd be like, yo, shut up with that. You ain't never quitting. You ain't never gonna quit. You know,
Yeah,
well,
no, man. Listen, I know. Listen, bro. Yo, I know exactly what you're saying, man. You know, it's interesting, and I'm glad you brought up the whole thing, man, because you know, I've been sleeping, man. You know, and I've been thinking, man. I need to, I need to implement a segment in here that focuses directly on recovery. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people sleep on the addiction to marijuana, bro. You know, and they don't realize that the recovery from marijuana is a scary one. You know what I'm saying? Um, I know that when I was in my first days of recovery, man, you know, my drug of choice was marijuana, man. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know my feelings, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was ridiculous, man. What was it like for you, man, when you was quitting? When you quit smoking weed?
like I said, it wasn't. I wasn't one of those hallelujah quitters. You know, I didn't jump a
Oh,
broom.
me either. Yeah.
You know, it was like, let's see. I remember the first time somebody tried to tell me, "You think you might have a problem?" To the moment that I was like, "Oh shit, I can't even believe this." I totally lost the desire to use. I haven't even thought about weed. Man, it's been weeks, it's been months. Matter of fact, to tell you the truth, right now saying that, I get chills. I remember how excited it was when I finally realized that I had applied a effective protocol, a sequence of steps that worked. It actually worked. That process, the first time that somebody told me that I might have a problem, to the moment that I got there, let's see, 5, 6, about 8 years. That's how long it took. And then because marijuana's been getting legalized and I got around the indigenous community,
Wait, how long it took
8 years.
to for you to stop smoking?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And a lot of emotional, mental, social challenges during that period. I lost a lot of friends. My marriage went through strain. My family went through strain to the point where it was pretty sucky because I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really sure if I could quit. At one point, I got addicted to K2 for like, I don't know, maybe 8 months because somebody suggested they were smoking it and they suggested that it was better than weed because it doesn't show up on drug tests and it's not as strong. And I went and I smoked that one time and it ended up becoming a worse habit than weed was. And that was in my process of trying to quit and not understanding myself, not understanding how my body worked, not having the training and the support spiritually that I needed, being in an abusive relationship, being in a relationship with abusive family members, people who were trying to control me, manipulate me, steer me, and use me, and therefore having me with that problem actually in some demented way served their interests, their short-term interests. It was almost like my family was pre-programmed to work with addiction, and that meant that if I actually changed from that person, they wouldn't know how to have a relationship with me. So it was safer to keep me like that than to actually, support the change, because then once they see the change and they know that a person can change, they have to look within themselves and ask about their own addiction. And what I realized, that's really what it was. The reason why somebody would show up every day after I was on first day or second day trying to quit was because I was in a codependent relationship. My wife was addicted to alcohol, and she knew that every time I had any sustained period of sobriety, that eventually I would start to express an interest in her not drinking alcohol. And so by inviting my friends over, exploiting the fact that you could be irritable in your first few days of non-smoking and encouraging them to bring weed and alcohol, he regularly set me up for relapses. So when I finally got free, it was also because I had to end my marriage, because the habits that existed, and we learned that actually, once I had proven I could stay clean, all my family members had to face the fact that the reality was is they were addicts too. It's just that maybe they thought cocaine and alcohol and marijuana, the way they did it, made them non-addicts. You know, and it's the insanity of addiction, actually, right?
Yeah.
It's the fact that they themselves were dealing with traumas, and perhaps it showed up more apparent with me, and maybe it didn't. Maybe that was the whole mental trip all along.
You know, it's interesting, man, because sometimes it's also like people partying and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're getting high. It's just a recreational thing, right? And they just keep doing it. They keep doing it. They're with their friends, and their friends like, "Yo, I got this. Check this out, right?" And then they end up forming an addiction, right? And then sometimes it can happen where they're doing it recreationally, and they go through a traumatic event, and then they use drugs to mask those feelings. And then it's weird, like how many different ways it can happen. Like someone could get in a car accident and be prescribed pain medications, right? And then it take off. It's just so crazy how many different ways it can happen, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm grateful that recovery is possible, though. You know what I'm saying? Um, man, I'm grateful, man, that like you willing to have this discussion with me, man, because you know, the pandemic has been hard, man. Um, I know lately it's been hard because I moved out to New Hampshire, man. You know, I'm out there during the week, man. It's like black folks is like 1.76% of the town, and there's a fear. And you know, sometimes I think about picking up a drink or getting smoking some weed and stuff like that, and I gotta like remind myself like where I was at. You know what I'm saying? Or I ask myself like, what the hell is that gonna do? How's that gonna change things? You know what I'm saying? And so. But one of the hardest things, man, for people that blocks people from realizing that they have an addiction, or even, after they realize they have an addiction and recovering, what makes it hard is the enabling from family members and friends and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And the stigma. You know what I mean? Nah, man. All you gotta do is control that. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, man. It really is.
Well, what helped me was in 2012, after all the ups and downs, and I don't ever want to forget about the ups. Me and my wife had some beautiful days together, beautiful seasons together. But inevitably, because of what we were really going through, deep inside of our minds and hearts, the moment that we picked up, we began to go down the roller coaster again. And the question of how do we overcome this is such a personal and such an individual journey. In our family, had no relationship to recovery.
Let me ask you this because we I just looked at the time. We went over by 13 minutes. We ended 11. Would you be willing to come back next Friday, bro?
For sure, we building a relationship, right?
Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying. I would like for the discussion of Would you mind the topic of weed and recovery? You know what I'm saying, and we can discuss that next weekend.
I wouldn't mind, but I would like to talk with you a little more before then, so you understand that a few important features. Like today, hold on, I'm gonna double check it to confirm it for you. Today I have 2 years, 4 months, and 6 days clean.
Well, congrats, man.
Every day is a miracle.
Word. Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
I realized that I had a very complex um conditioning. I was like that dude in what was the movie? What was it called? What was it called? Fight Club. You know, in Fight Club when he be like going to
Yeah.
all the meetings. I was like that dude. I would go to MAAANADDA SSALA. Like there was a period of time and more than once where I had to go into those meetings and look at the various dynamics of the issues that plague my thoughts and my feelings. And I feel some very like powerful gems have been the result of that effort. Sitting with therapists and psychologists and looking at myself and meditating and praying and getting with yogis and trying this religion and trying that religion and going, you know. But I found something when it was all done that I think that might be helpful to others who may or may not be dealing with the type of complex challenges that I had to deal with and come through to get to where I'm at. So that's an important part of it. I'm a single father raising two children, and I have been successful at building my business, being a student, organizing in the community, right? Continuing on as an artist, a writer, a teacher, and being able to now look back and offer some of what I've learned to possibly help someone else is a beautiful thing. So if you don't have any problem with that, you know, elements of what I have to share are the truths that I surfaced that are universal to recovery, no matter what your particular issue is.
I don't have issues with that. Like the only thing I would say, man, as long as you're not encouraging people to like substitute one drug for another, you know what I'm saying? Things like that, you know what I'm saying? Then,
Oh no, let me give you the quick rundown on marijuana. So like I had to think about this a lot. And the last time that I relapsed, it was because I started to get people in my life who said, now that you have Taino chiefs and Lakota chiefs and you're around indigenous people, you got to understand that this cannabis is a medicine.
yeah,
But your problem was you didn't grow up on your tribal lands. You didn't have people that respected this and honored this herb as a medicine to teach you and to raise you. You were
right,
shown a street way of dealing with it.
yeah.
So now that you have this community with you, we're going to be there to encourage you and to support you and help you learn how to work with it so you can really get the healing you need that you never got. And for a while, that's what it seemed to be. But what I discovered was because of all the years I abused alcohol and cannabis the way that I did, I've created certain neural pathways
Yeah.
that are now the sequence that will ultimately lead me back to being somebody who will be abusive of the.
And people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so where I'm at is maybe for somebody else, if they grew up on the reservation or they grew up with a parent or an elder who teaches them how to work with it, to
Yeah,
deal with,
maybe it's possible. Yeah.
they won't develop addiction.
You know, it's like
Maybe they,
somebody was saying to me about mushrooms. You know, and the indigenous people use that to like, you know, how they go on the journeys and part of the rituals and stuff like that.
ayahuasca, frog medicine,
I,
cannabis,
I was like, yo,
jojoba.
I love you, I care about you, but I don't want to end up robbing you
Well, you
with
get what
this.
I know about all those medicines now.
Uh,
So what I could say is there's also people who committed suicide on mushrooms.
mhm.
You know, people are hurting and suffering, could be dealing with chemical imbalances either from their environment or from food or lack of proper sleep. You know, and we know more about mental health today than ever before. And there's certain ideas like that I could share after going through this journey since 2005, 2006, that may be of help to someone, might save somebody else's life. So I
Right,
am willing to share about it. And that's why I wanted to say this to you is, yeah, AA and NA and relapse and recovery and exploring indigenous tradition and looking at questions of what it means to still do hip hop and having places I can't go. I really can't go into bars and do shows on a Friday night when everybody's drinking. I can't do it no more. It's not my scene. How do I still propose to make it in hip hop if I'm in recovery? I
right,
have ideas for that.
right. Word, yo, let's do it, man. Let's do it, man. And yo, let's do it, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm cool with that, man. Yo, you still make beats?
Yeah, I wish there was a way I could share some with you now.
There is a way that you can share with us now. With us now. You see where the mute button is? If you click the arrow, right? Click on settings, and you see down below where it says music mode.
Music mode. No, I see audio only mode. Is that something that you have?
Maybe. So what do you, when you click the right when you click the arrow next to mute, right? You see under microphone. What do you have under microphone? You see internal microphone.
Audio devices. I could.
So when you click on that arrow, what pops up on the menu?
Um, there's like a bunch of options: audio devices, settings, um,
Click on
reclaim control.
click on settings.
Yeah, it takes me to a screen with a whole bunch of like, options for how like I set up my screen.
Do you see microphone there? Do you see a speaker settings? You should
Nah,
see. You don't see speaker
let's turn off
microphone.
the speaker.
You know, okay, up top under settings, do you see speaker, microphone, and camera?
Does not on this device.
Okay.
I could share a link with you.
You should be able to play the, should be able to play. So what do you use? Are you using a laptop or using a phone?
A phone.
Do you got the music on a laptop or computer?
Yeah.
You can play it on that and we can hear it.
I just said make. I just asked. It says here to be the presenter. Like there might be a way for me to do that.
Go ahead. Ask to be the presenter. But
Do you see it?
nah. But you shouldn't have to be the presenter to do it though. I guess it says that you are the presenter. I don't know.
Then I cannot share that content.
Do you see? Do you see? Do you see? Do you see share?
Yeah, I was clicking that.
So if you click share, right? Oh, you're on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Um. So are you near your computer?
Yeah.
All right. So if you play it on your computer, we should be able to hear it.
That's true, but I thought it would sound better if I could do it through the app than through the phone speaker, you know?
Well, if you was on your laptop, man, you'd have different settings, I think.
Trying to get it.
Cause
It
there's some settings under.
if it
Huh?
doesn't, does it play move? It says file type not supported. Wonder what kind of file type it does play.
Yeah.
It's loading. It says we cannot open the file because the file type is not supported.
Right. That's because you're on your. That's because especially that's because you're on your phone.
I try to go through the Google Drive.
Right. All right.
Let's see.
All right. But so but real quick though, before we go, man. So I mean, you mind going on your computer and giving us a prefix?
Yeah, I have no problem with that. You want to see a video or just hear audio?
You can do some audio. If you got a video, you got a video on YouTube. Is it on YouTube?
Vimeo or YouTube, yeah.
Send me to YouTube. I'll see if I can play it.
Okay. I'm going to send it to you through Messenger. there?
Yeah, let me see. For some reason, it's not letting me hear anything. Let me see something.
Come here, son.
Europeans arrived. They encountered a people who would fight to defend.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear. I was wondering if there was some way you could play it on the screen.
I am right now. I was trying to I was just trying to figure it out. You want to introduce it?
All right, yeah. Last year I was able to prepare a song that was selected for this Africa Loves Cuba concert. What most people don't know is Cuba has been sharing their medical expertise with countries across Africa, and the nations of Africa really, wanted to show a thank you. They organized a 2-day, like music concert. It was virtual, so they had artists submit songs. And my song, this was one of the ones that was chosen to be a part of that concert. So in the beginning, I have a little intro about Cuba, and then we go into my song, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to be removing the intro and just leaving the song up in the near future, but for a while until the intro was still a good idea. And I produced and created everything, the music, the lyrics, the video.
When the first Europeans arrived, they encountered a people who would fight to defend themselves from the invaders, but also they encountered the sweetest type of comrade they had ever seen. Echoed from generation to generation, this identity of fierce fighter and loving comrade is not only that of the Arawakan Taino people, but also of the Cubans and all the people of the Caribbean. I can look back now and also see clearly my ancestors who were indigenous to these lands, as well as my African ancestors. Because with a careful and deep look into our family trees, I think we all see a handsome African man and a beautiful African woman with a smile, even hopeful for the future they could only dream of for their children. The relationships between native people and African people and the struggle against what is incorrect goes back for over 5 centuries. And today, that solidarity continues in Cuba. Cuba represents a beacon of strength and hope for all humanity, all nations. Lead the way, Cuba, towards global victory over oppression, corrupt and wicked capitalism, and towards pan-Caribbean unity. I offer this song to honor Cuba, all its people, and our shared African and Taino, Siboney, and Arawakan ancestry. Viva Cuba Libre! Viva la revolución! Cuba sin bloqueo, no!
Yo, that was dope. That was dope.
That
Yo, who's doing the rhyming on that though? Huh?
that's me.
Stop lying. Stop
Why?
lying. Yo, you was rocking that, dude?
I said it in the beginning. I made the video, I made the beat, and I did the rhyme.
Yo.
Sang on the hook, but I got to give my daughter credit because she sang with me.
Okay. Yeah, I want to put that. I want to put that up on the page when I get the info.
Yeah, I would say maybe right now it would be good to cut out the Cuba intro just because it's a really controversial issue right now with what's going on in Cuba.
Yeah.
You know, and I got other joints too. Here, let me send you a beat real quick.
All right, well, we got Nanon in the house.
All right, cool.
Nanon, how you doing, Nanon?
I am well. How about you guys?
I'm doing all right. Why your video so dark? Why I can't see you?
Because I'm already in bed.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Yo,
I'm
you
in
missed
bed.
the conversation last Friday. We was talking about the assassination of Moise. How do you pronounce his name?
Moise, Jovenel
Moise.
Moise.
Yeah, we was talking about that.
Yeah.
Tonight we discussed Bill Cosby, the NFL offer, um, police brutality, and the um, one of the Springfield cops.
Hmm.
One of the Springfield cops. One of the Springfield cops put up a picture of George Floyd holding a gun to a black woman's pregnant belly. You
Oh,
know, yeah, we discussed that. It was pretty deep discussion. So, well, we
yeah.
about to bang out of here. You know what I'm saying? Tito Fitz Rivera from Queens, New York City. Um, spoke a lot, man. He's been a long time community activist, cultural activist. He's putting
Okay.
together a community school, hip hop Congress chapter out that way. We got, just to let you guys know, some upcoming things that's happening in the Northeast region of Hip Hop Congress. Worcester is doing Words You Can See, an audiovisual hip hop experience on July 24th, 2021. Was a pop up. You guys can check these out at www.nerhac.net. The seventh annual Wake Up community event put on by Kyrene Tabar, Saturday, 28th, 2001, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'll be out there, filming, what I'm saying, making sure the word's out. And Philly Hip Hop Congress, Poor People's Army just had an event on June 27th, Ja Rahim, for their Green Day and Cookout event. That was at 1505 West Allegheny Avenue in Philly. That was at 1 p.m. on that day. So I'm waiting for the information from the Connecticut chapter to put up. Waiting for another chapter in New York City to hit us up and give us some information. And yeah, I'm working on getting the chapter out in New Jersey, so we can all start really doing our thing and you know, building each other up, building our community. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people get heard. You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay.
yeah. So that's happening. Yeah, don't forget we got the Poetic Recovery Radio. You know what I'm saying? Tito, Nanon, if y'all know anybody, who's got some music, want to voice Herb, you know what I'm saying? Or you guys interested in having a radio show on the online radio station. Poetic Recovery as a website, we got 33,000 hits so far, which I think which I think is pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? 33,000 hits.
All right.
So I think that I personally, I think that's dope.
Yeah, do you that's worth noting? Have another
Excuse me?
what's the
What'd
bounce?
you say?
I was just curious if you knew what the bounce rate was.
I don't know. What is the bounce rate, bro?
Well, basically, there's certain what's called web analytics, certain measurements that you could take as you're developing your e-commerce, right? So that there's techniques that you could utilize to improve that when people come to the website, they stay, they interact, they take actions,
Oh, I hear you.
So
Right.
a lot they tell they looked at the page for a minute and they left without clicking on it.
Okay. Yeah, I could check that out. Um.
For a minute.
So maybe that's something that I could help you with. Yeah.
Word. I know the health and wellness got hit 1,217 times, which is pretty cool. So that means that people are looking at some resources on recovery and stuff like that. I got to put up more. I want to get up. I want to get up more by the state. You know what I'm saying? By each state. So as the summer goes on, as the year goes on, I'll be getting up more information, stuff like that that people can use. I want to get up more artists. On the artist page, I want to get you up there, bro. What would you go under though? I mean, you're like a what do they call it? A multidisciplinary artist.
Yeah, well the thing I'm about to go into a heavy production season. I've spent the last 4 months dealing more with administrative business stuff.
Yeah.
I've just been stockpiling hundreds of ideas. And I'm gonna be pulling out my equipment and going into production mode, I'd say within the 2 weeks.
Okay.
So with the beats I just sent you, it's just an example. It's just a way to get a feel. I'm not looking to be put out like immediately. I'd rather build the relationship, build the chapter, and then along the way we strategize and like when is the right moment,
Right.
let everybody know, and maybe that's gonna come when my next batch of production is done and I have
You
two
know,
or
and my boy, Blessings is gonna want to work with you too. He's doing the Connecticut chapter. He's gonna want to work with you as well.
well check the beats out because you heard me rocking the beat, but the beats I just sent you are copyrighted and published, but still available for songs.
Hold up, real quick. Let me just play this one real quick. Makes me wanna rock, makes me wanna get down, makes me wanna rock, let me get to the sound. Feel the beat, hear the beat, make me wanna rush. Grab a microphone and join. You grab a microphone and get touched, what? And I just wanna freestyle and I just wanna get it. Come on, man, make me wanna get with it. Look into your eyes, yo, you're on the level. Come on, son, yo, you thought I was the devil cause I told you the truth, and the truth hurt your soul. Oh, yo, like, yeah, what? Here I come to rock. I come to rock, I come to drop, yo, the lyrics, the music to your ears, yo, it's time to hear. Come on now, yo, don't cower to the fear. Hey, yo, through the fear, yo, move through the process. Come on, man, don't worry about your dress, worry about your chrome, worry about your heart. Hey, yo, open up your eyes, yo, that's the start. Yo, bring the crew together, we can all do this. Yo, man, that shit is dope. Everybody, everybody jump, yo, people wanna pump, keep pumping, coming. Y'all like I like Yo, Tito, man.
You like
Jeez.
that?
Yo, Man, we have to work on that, bro.
All right. Well, I'm happy to hear that.
I'd have to figure out like that's gonna make me elevate my skills, bro.
Well, that's what it's meant to do.
Yo, hey, no, you heard that?
Sounds pretty good.
Yo, what? Yo, hold up, wait. Hold up.
You got them in the chat too. Maybe you feel better for you.
This is the Dirty Rock rhythm.
Yeah, I want to do all the different styles of rhythms. Reggae, hip hop, reggaeton.
Can you feel it? Yo, can you feel it? Do you wanna rock with me? Do you wanna rock with me? Come on now, we gonna rock it. We gonna take it, yo, ain't no stopping it. Yo, day and night, and yo, we wanna come together. Come on, yo, we doing video cause of the pandemic. Come on, son, yo, time to get with it. I don't care where you at, come on and rock it. Put your hands up, yo, and yo, you drop it, Never that, yo, hold the microphone. Let your voice be heard, yo. Even if you at home, nationwide, internationally. Come on, man, yo, you know it's me. Soul Fighter, what? Hip Hop Congress, Poetic Recovery, man. Yo, you know you want this. Some people in denial, acting like they in trial. Never that. Live your best life. Yo, ever come through, son? In the night, yo, lights out. Yo, never that. Yo, my heart shine the brightest, yo. Around the tightest, Don't you know, yo, it's time to go. 11:50, 10 before 12. Cats like, yo, all hell is gonna break loose. Not at my house, not at my house. We just rocking it out, yo, we rocking it out. Yo, cool, coming collective. Come on, man. Part of a collective. Let it rock. Let it go. Here we go, yo. Don't you know that time to rock the show, Let it all go, all the pain, release it, let it go. Put it on paper, put it in a poem, put it spoken word, yo. You've been worn down, spiritually, mentally, yo. It's time to build up, Can you hear the beat, yo? Yo, can you hear the beat flow with it, yo? Time to rise up, time to rise up, time to rise up, rise, Time to rise up, open your eyes, yo. Society, yo, on the brink of going crazy, yo. Internal combustion, come on, man, yo. Let it go, move your body and let it go, move your body and let it go, free your mind, free your body, free your soul. Yeah, let it go, what? Let it go, time to rise up. Everybody know? Yeah, they know what's up, what? Hip Hop Congress? Northeast region, Queens in the house. Tito, Iron Fist, Rivera on the production. Enough respect. Yo, bro, that's crazy. Let me know what you think.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. Impressed.
Bro, that's okay. Okay. Pretty dope.
Oh, word. Well, I think you like the last one the best. Anyway, the last one's my favorite one. When I was preparing my recent collection, I decided to take a few beats that I had made, and there was something about them I felt, but I update them and just add some extra layers.
Bro, I'm gonna wait till you gotta bring that back next week, next Friday. You gotta bring that beat back next Friday, the last one. I'm not gonna play it right now because people ain't used to us going this late, bro. If I play that right now and it's dope, they probably gonna want to keep hearing it. So I want to invite them to come back next Friday, 8 p.m. Y'all heard these two beats from Tito. Y'all heard them. You hear my voice right now. You don't hear me speak like this often. Yo, he just got me. He listen, come back next Friday and I'll play that for you. What you say, Tito?
I think that's a good idea. And I got an exclusive joint that I did with none other than the original Powwow Soul Sonic Force that I could, sneak out there just this one time, just for everybody to know what's coming.
Yo, can you bring that next Friday?
Yeah, for sure.
Word. Amen. Yo, I want to thank you for coming this Friday. Bro, you blew it up in the end. You came in, you dropped some knowledge, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty dope, man. You know what I'm saying? Next Friday, we're going to really get into it, man. Listen, you just changed my whole mood right now, bro. Listen, now I got to go calm down. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to thank you on one hand. On the other hand, bro, I better get some sleep tonight, man. I'm going to be like, man, this brother got me all hype and I can't sleep. I'm like staring at the ceiling because I want to go downstairs. I want to rock these beats. I want to like write something, but like I want to try to be disciplined. I want to like.
It's true.
Man. Yo, thanks, man. What's up?
Something. And then you'll sleep better than you have in a while. You get it off your chest.
Yo, word. Man, thank you for coming tonight. Nano, I want to thank you. Nano, you got something you want to say before we head out?
Not much, really.
Really?
I just wanted to come out and support you.
After all that.
What do you mean?
After all that, you ain't got nothing to say?
I think you both are great. I mean, I came at the end, so I didn't know what it was about. So, well, there's some talents there.
Word.
I like the reggae beat thing going on.
Yo, Nano was rocking in the bed. I don't know if you heard it. You heard it squeaking and stuff like that, but I heard it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my bed don't be squeaking.
Yo, hey, listen, Theo gonna be performing tomorrow at Eric Garner's Memorial on Staten Island. Hey, what time is that going down, bro?
From 12 to 7, right next to the site where he was brutally killed by police. We're going to be with his children, his legacy, and making tomorrow a day of celebration, a day of memorial, so that they, change that negative into a positive. We'll be out on Bay Street, right across from Tompkinsville Park. If you come into town or you come through the city, you can take the Staten Island Ferry, and it's just right up the road.
Word, man. Hey, man, I'd like to give you some, man, if you can share some video to Northeast Region, to the Poetic Recovery page, you know what I'm saying? That'd be dope, man, so we can see what's happening, what's going on, man. Thank you for all the work that you're doing, brother. You know what I'm saying? And, man, you know what I'm saying? Yo, just keep doing it, man. Let's get it. Keep your head up, brother. All right. Peace out.
Much love.
You too, man. Thank you. Good night, Nano. Thank you for coming through. Hope to see you next Friday.
I'll try.
All right. Peace. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Man, as always, it turned out to be a really dope session. Recovery discussion, cultural exchange. We started talking about Bill Cosby. Matter of fact, no, Jerry and his food. Jerry loves to cook. He was sharing some information with us. Then we started talking about Bill Cosby. We started talking about issues of wealth in black communities. Classism really is what it was, and the need for accountability. We started talking about NFL, their proposal to play the Black National Anthem once in the season. And there was something else that we talked about. It's like right down the tip of my tongue. Let me look over here in my notes. Police brutality, that's right. How could I forget that? in this cop over in Springfield and all his whackness, decided to post what he said was a meme. Of George Floyd pointing a gun at a pregnant woman. What was the cop's name? I'm looking for his name. Hector Santiago, Officer Hector Santiago. So we discussed that. So tonight was really it was a loaded night. Dino, Iron Fist, came through tonight from Queens. Longtime activist, cultural activist, political activist, community activist, came through tonight, man, and shared his information, his takes on things. Jerry and Sean came through. I want to thank Dominica for coming through. So I want to thank all y'all for checking us out, watching it, and hope y'all have a good night. Take care of yourselves, man, and y'all know that Tito, rocked it, man, with those beats, man. So Arsenal is building. All right, keep your head up. Be well. Peace.